Postseason basketball in March, what's better than this? It's round one of the Atlantic 10 Men's Basketball Championship. The last place Fordham Rams, the number 10 Rhode Island Rams, on 90.7 FM WFUV. Welcome to Capital One Arena, home of the Washington Wizards and the Washington Capitals. Lou Orlando joined by my partners Nick Guzman and Chaz McAdams. Well, gentlemen, the Rams enter A10 tournament play riding a season-high 8-game losing streak. That is not exactly riding into tournament play on a hot streak by any means. But in the words of head coach Keith Ergo, you wipe the slate clean, everyone's 0-0, and Fordham has a chance against a team they've already played twice this season.
That's the unique thing about this situation, Lou, is that Fordham just played Rhode Island on Saturday up in Kingston 4 days ago. It was 86-67, the final score in favor of Rhode Island. It wasn't really close at any point in that game. Rhode Island led for all 40 minutes, but for Fordham, it's a clean slate, guys. I mean, you just saw this team on Saturday. You know what to expect. You've seen them twice this season. You're in an NBA arena in Washington, D.C. Yes, you come in at 3-15 and as the bottom, the 15 seed in this Atlantic 10 tournament. But at this point, the mindset has to be, why not us? Every team is starting from the same point here in this tournament. Fordham might be the bottom seed, but that doesn't mean they can't shock some people.
Absolutely, Nick Guzman. The slate is clay, and you look at these two. The slate is clean, and you look at these two teams objectively. You have a Fordham team known for their offense, high-powered, second-leading scorer in the league. Jackie Johnson, the third, snubbed from third team, all A10. He's got a chip on his shoulder. Jaffe Medor, that's the backcourt duo. On the other side, Sebastian Thomas, the league leader in steals and assists. A true point guard if there ever was one, but also known for hitting a clutch shot. Probably got the coldest ice in his veins in this league. These two teams are going to match up very well. The last outing wasn't close. I don't think it'll be the same situation this time. Ram on Ram violence here in the nation's capital.
Battle of the Rams, Part 3. Tip-off is set for 2:08 p.m. from Washington, D.C. And we'll get you all set up for the game. But yesterday, Tuesday afternoon, Chaz and I caught up with Fordham men's basketball head coach Keith Ergo. Lou Orlando, Chaz McAdams, the Fordham men's basketball head coach Keith Ergo. Coach, we're finally at the A10 tournament. Yeah. I guess I'll just start with, when you get to these games, that win or go home, what does it take to win a game and to go on a run in the A10 tournament?
It takes a lot of energy and effort, just the ability to move on to the next play. We call it attitude in our program. Just have a positive attitude. Don't let one mistake compound another. That is the difference between teams that advance in tournaments and don't. It's the ability to move on to the next play, because every team at some point is going to go on a run, and how you react to that could depend on whether or not you get a W or not.
Coach, this is going to be your third time seeing the URI Rams. How does that affect your game plan? You've been able to see them multiple times at your place, at their place, and now most recently at their and now at a neutral site. Yeah. Just the game plan and what Archie's going to throw at you, and what Seb Thomas is able to do, and those guys, how they like to run and get up and down the court. Just how does that benefit you as a staff to see them for a third time?
I think everybody in conference at this point knows what each other's going to do, and that's why you see so many close basketball games. And honestly, it's not a ton of execution, not X's and O's that really win games at this point. It's energy and effort. We all know what each other's going to do. I mean, we just played them a couple days ago. There's not a whole lot of adjustments that you can make that are going to all of a sudden some continuity offense or all of a sudden some crazy defense. You just haven't had a whole lot of time to do that. Now, there are some adjustments we have made within our own system already that we feel like are going to benefit us, but the reality is we have to get back in transition. We got to keep things tight in the half court. When we did make them play in the half court the other night, we had some success. Our issue was they were playing at a different speed than us in the very beginning of the game in that first 4 minutes, and then during a 4-minute stretch in the second half. We have to eliminate those stretches where they can get up and down. We got caught up in their game playing pace-wise, and that affected us. When we played at our pace and we held them in the half court, we had some success, and that's what we're going to have to do tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck.
Go Rams.
March 12th, 2025. It's day one of the Atlantic 10 men's basketball tournament. The 11-20 Fordham Rams, 3-15 in conference, good for last place on the A10. Rhode Island comes in 18-12 overall, 7-11 in conference. They get the 10 seed. So after Davidson edges Richmond in the first game of the day one A10 tournament, now it's the 10-15 game. Fordham Rams, we mentioned it, 8 straight losses ahead to tournament play. That's obviously not ideal. If you're looking for something to sink your teeth in as why you could be optimistic going in, well, it's now 3 straight years that Fordham has won at least one A10 tournament game. They've got a tendency for playing well at least once in these tournaments. They've got an experienced lineup, and you've got a head coach in Keith Ergo that's obviously looking to change the narrative on this season.
I mean, absolutely, Lou Orlando. 1-1 for the last 3 years in the A10 tournament. Coach Keith Ergo has never lost in the opening round, but he's also never been this low in the seeding. I love the Rams' odds here. I think they know what they need to do versus Rhode Island. That you saw what they were able to do in the Rose Hill Gym. Slow them down. Make Sebastian Thomas and Javante Brown play side to side, rather than getting up and down. You want them working on that 50 rather than that 94 on the court. But there's no doubt in my mind that this Fordham Ram team can make a comeback, can figure it out, and get it done in the nation's capital.
On Rhode Island, it's a little bit of the opposite end. It's 3 straight years in the tournament where they've dropped their opening round game, and now in the 3rd season with head coach Archie Miller, it's a 3rd straight season that they're a day one team going into the A10 tournament. Most people in the media think this is their most talented team, but on the other side with Rhode Island, you have to believe there is a similar edge to want to win this game. It's been a decline in postseason success since their 2017 A10 title.
And for Rhode Island, this was a team that middle of February was not supposed to be a day one team. They were 6-7 in the A10. Then 4 straight losses down the stretch, finally snapped that losing streak against Fordham on Saturday. But this was a team that had their sights looking higher up those Atlantic 10 standings, and to be in this day one matchup against Fordham, probably not where they wanted to be about a month ago, but the reality is Rhode Island just saw this Fordham team as well, and they gained a lot of confidence from their performance on Saturday.
Well, let's give you the starting lineups from Capital One Arena, and we'll start with the number 15 Fordham Rams at the 1-2. No surprises here. Jaffe Medor and Jackie Johnson. Johnson second in the A10 in scoring, did not get any all-conference honors. The big change is at the 3. It's the 6'7" Jameer Tripp. Rounding out the 4 and 5 are Mahdi and Abdou Tambila, but to get Tripp back in the lineup, he's been playing better basketball of late. I think most people would consider this to be Fordham's most potent offensive lineup.
Absolutely. In terms of offense, this is the team you want out there. Josh Rivera taking a step back in the offensive realm. He's a great rebounder, though, been a great defender. But Romad Dean gets it done. Mr. Consistent has dropped off a little bit in his recent play. But as we always say in this league, he's due for a big game. And Jameer Tripp, ceiling-wise, the most skilled player on this Fordham team, the best player on this Fordham team out of Brooklyn, New York, the hometown hero, Abdou Tambila, in his final season with the Rams, Jaffe Medor and Jackie Johnson in what could be their final years with the Rams. This is a starting lineup that is looking to punch Archie Miller and the Rhode Island Rams in the mouth.
You mentioned those Rhode Island Rams, their starting lineup, the 6'3" junior guard Jamarcus Lawrence, the 6'4" senior guard Jaden House, the 6'7" senior forward David Green, the 7' center Javante Brown. But it all starts with their point guard Sebastian Thomas. His second stint at URI, it's clearly been his best, leads the A10 in assists and steals. He's one of the best point guards in the conference by far.
And he's the one who jumps off the page, and he's proven it against Fordham this year. Had 27-7 on Saturday, 3 steals also to go along with that. First in A10 in assists per game, 18th nationally. When you watch him play, he moves like a point guard should move. He is such an ideal point guard for this Rhode Island offense that wants to move fast. Thomas can push the tempo, not afraid to go to the basket and make some tough shots.
Well, behind Thomas, this is a Rhode Island team that leads the A10 with 78.3 points per game. They're not the best defensively. Honestly, guys, this battle of the Rams, 2 very similar teams, high offensive ceiling, have not played well defensively.
No, not at all, but the difference is you have a defensive-minded coach in Keith Ergo. He's a grit and grind guy, wants to get up and down the floor, play defensive basketball.
A tip won by Tambila, and it's Fordham ball to start their A10 championship journey. Round 1 of the A10 tournament, Fordham in maroon, Rhode Island in white and light blue. Johnson moving left off the Tambila screen. Dean swings it into the near corner for Medor. Back up top, Tambila. Fakes the handoff to Johnson, goes right wing for Tripp. 9 on the shot clock. Tripp's pass is intercepted by Jaden House. 2-on-2, House in transition, and fouled on the way up by Ramad Dean.
Jaden House was so impressive in that game Saturday. 19 points, second leading scorer for Rhode Island, but showing off the athleticism to get that steal, push the pace the other way. The foul called against Ramad Dean. Didn't look like a ton of contact, Chaz, but early whistle.
I don't want to get started early, guys. I don't. But
only 28 seconds in.
He goes Ramad Dean in a 2-on-1 situation. A great team defender, maybe not the most athletic or best decision maker in a 1-on-1 situation, but he was in a 2v1, is able to go hands back, still get the contact, make Green change his shot, way to get your hands in his eye view, and then they call the foul. I saw his hands back. Oh, it's breaking my heart, Lou Orlando. Nick Guzman.
Jaden House takes both at the line. 2-0 Rhode Island lead. 1932 first half. Third iteration of the Battle of the Rams. Fordham took game 1 at Rose Hill. Rhode Island took game 2 in Kingston. Third one. The winner will survive and advance. Johnson left wing. Hesitates. Double team. Left block 2. It's floater's good. A touch by Jackie Johnson.
That's the shot for Jackie Johnson. Such a tough one off balance, but anytime he gets that lefty floater up, you feel pretty good about his chances.
Tied at 2, opening minute. Thomas off a screen, moves left. Left elbow extended, cross-court Lawrence into the paint for Javonte Brown. Double teamed, hard off the glass, and it goes wide. Rebound in the corner by Sebastian Thomas. Spins and fades, and it rolls out. Kept here for the moment by Brown, but now pried away by the Rams. It's Medor on the near side. 2-2, 18-40 first half. Medor right off a screen. Swung into the corner, Jameer Tripp. Resets up top for Timbila. Fakes the handoff to Medor. Timbila near short corner, resets up top for Dean. The fake, swings left Medor. Medor drifting right into the lane, takes a bump. Floater's good, and one.
That is the shot for Jaffe Medor on the other side, able to drop that shoulder, use that body contact on Green. Continuation, takes his second step and floats it so pretty right into the hoop. He's going to get his one at the charity stripe.
Jaffe Medor, one of the best guards in the A10 in conference play. Cooled off a bit, though, the final 6 games of the season. Hot start there with the floater and one.
It was really just the efficiency in terms of shooting from Jaffe Medor. He was still getting his assists, still getting his steals, still impacting the game in plenty of other ways. But the shooting just down that recent stretch that you mentioned, Lou, not up to scratch.
Medor finishes the three-point play. Fordham ahead 5-2, 18-18 first half. And Fordham looking to trap in the half court. Thomas ahead on the near side to Lawrence. Plays catch with Thomas. Back to the left side. Hand off for House. Gives it back to Lawrence. Drives into the lane. Floater's good. They hype this up as a game of hot offenses. Both sides so far are looking okay in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, you got to have more awareness on the defensive end there for Romadine. You see Lawrence cutting in to the basket. You got to be able to block that floater.
5-4 Fordham. Tripp on the right wing. A jab. Moves left. And has it poked away by Brown. Staying here with Fordham on the high far side. Get Josh Rivera checking into this game. Ramad Dean subs out. 17:46 first half.
Coach Ergo did not like that last defensive sequence from Ramad Dean. Just didn't really know where his man was in a man-to-man set.
Yeah. Medor running point, top of the key. Screen coming right from Timbila. Medor uses to the right elbow extended. Has it poked away back to Johnson. Deep right wing three. He got it. Nothing but net.
And when those deep ones are going in, you feel good about Jackie Johnson and how he's going to play this afternoon.
8-4 Fordham. 17-22 first half. Lawrence drives inside, drops it down for Brown, who takes the bump in the paint. He missed the shot, but it's Brown going to the line.
Jameer Tripp with one hand up there. If he'd gotten two, maybe they don't call that foul. But Brown, an absolute physical presence. That big duo of Fuchs and Brown is unreal for the Rhode Island Rams. They're bruisers.
Brown at 7 foot, Green at 6'7". Brown spent time in the SEC and the Big East. I think you can tell just a physical specimen, as you're saying, Chaz.
And neither one of them were very effective on Saturday against Fordham. You know, Brown played just 10 minutes. Green, such a great three-point shooter, went 0 of 5 from beyond the arc. And Rhode Island were still able to blow out Fordham. I think if the Rhodey could get these big guys really more involved in the game, I think it'd be really beneficial.
1 for 2 trip from Brown, who's a 59% shooter at the line. It's 8-5 Fordham. Medor in the lane, drops it down low for Timbilla, the two-hand slam. Great feed by Medor. That's a little bit of a no-look feed by Fordham's point guard.
Already 4 for 4 from the field to start for Fordham, a far cry from what it was a couple days ago.
Fordham Rams ahead 10-5. Here's House driving the lane, contested 2 is airballed. And Rivera comes up with the rebound. The last time out against Rhode Island, Fordham went down 8-0 quick. Left wing 3 for Jameer Tripp. Airballs and misses everything. Rhode Island to take it the other way. Thomas down center court, kicks for House. Wide open for 3. He got it. Back to a 2-point game.
That's the tempo that Rhode Island wants to play at, getting out in transition. Thomas leading the fast break, finds House in the corner. Not a great three-point shooter, was pretty good on Saturday against Fordham, continuing it again here in D.C.
10-8 Fordham, 16-20 first half. Tripp handoffs up top for Medor. Medor between the legs. Straight up 3. Drew the foul. Nearly made the shot too, but it's Medor going back to the line. And if you look at Jaffe Medor's season, that's one of the things you can praise him for. Really all year long is his ability to get to the rim and get to the line consistently.
Contact since senior night, though. Not the most efficient shooter from the charity stripe, going 4 for 8 in the last outing versus the URI Rams, hoping to switch that around here, get his 3 where it needs to go. But I want to talk a little bit about that defensive possession from Jameer Tripp. See Sebastian Thomas going in. We're harping on him all day. He leads the league in assists and steals. You got to know that he's going to kick out to green that corner. He's going to have that vision. So instead of bodying him all the way there, Jaffe was there in front of him. And then Thomas is able to recognize the double so well. He is the best point guard in this league. And he just kicked out right there for David Green to hit that 3. But you got to have more awareness there on the side of Jameer Tripp.
Mass subs for Fordham, Matt Zona, Zach Riley, and Josh Rivera check in. And Nick, as you were saying, a night and day difference. Fordham falls down quickly 4 days ago, 8-0 to URI, and that ends up in part being the difference is that opening run by URI, a much different looking Rams today.
Coach Ergo mentioned when you guys talked to him yesterday how Fordham just didn't match Rhode Island's speed in those opening couple of minutes. And when you go behind early, it's so hard to crawl your way back against the really good teams in this conference.
Thomas on the right wing after Medor takes all 3. It's 13-8 Fordham. Thomas drives, scoop lamp with a left hand, falls after 3 bounces off the rim. He's just such a dynamic scorer. Does everything well.
That was a great defensive possession, too. That's great defense, better offense. Thomas is unhinged.
Bounce to Johnson, left wing. Rhode Island out to meet him. Johnson thinking about the 3. Pulls. He got it again. It rolls in. 2 deep 3s from Johnson to open this game.
It's not that Jackie's ever shy about pulling the trigger from deep, but some games he's feeling it. He's feeling it this afternoon in D.C.
16-10 Fordham. 15.5 in the first half. Thomas muscling in the lane. Left-hand floater is short. And the rebound by Zach Riley. Good start for Fordham defensively. Up ahead to Johnson, right wing. Drives inside. Hangs. Floater this time no good. David Fuchs, the Rhode Island big man off the bench, pulls down the rebound. Thomas left wing. Resets to Fuchs. On the right side to Lawrence. A jab and drive. Fades from mid-range. And leaves it long. Medor the rebound. He'll take it up. Medor going coast to coast. Bodies his way in and draws the foul. Well, Fordham clearly have a mindset of, let's take the ball, let's get to the rim. It's working out so far.
Absolutely. The Fordham Rams know how to attack the glass in the right way every time, and they're slowing Rhode Island on the defensive end. This is a perfect Rams game so far.
Fordham 16, Rhode Island 10, 14-50 first half. We'll be back in a moment. It's Fordham men's basketball on 90.7 FM. What's up, Ramley? It's Lou Orlando. Fordham men's basketball heads to Washington, D.C. for the A10 tournament, and WFUV has you covered every step of the way. Round 1 starts this Wednesday, March 12th at 2 p.m., with games every day until Sunday. Alongside my partners Nick Guzman and Chaz McAdams, we'll have the call for every game from Capital One Arena. Tune in and follow along as the Rams make their postseason push. 90.7 FM WFUV is the home of Fordham basketball. Lou Orlando, Nick Guzman, Chaz McAdams, Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports. Well, Fordham comes into this A10 tournament round 1 game. It has not been a good season by any means. 11-20 overall, 3-15 in conference. They finished dead last in the A10. The message we've gotten from Coach Urgo and the players on this team is we want to change the narrative. We want to go out on our terms, at least in terms of the first 5 minutes. So far, so good. The offense firing 16 points, shooting at a 70% clip. And Chaz, as you were saying, even the defense seems to be a little sharper than it's looked all season long. Again, only a 5-minute sample, but that's as well of a start as the Rams could have asked for.
Yeah, especially that last Zach Riley defensive possession on Sebastian Thomas put him in an absolute box. Seatbelt, thank you, drive safe. There's no way that you can look at a guy like Zach Riley on the floor and think easy matchup. He's a grit and grind guy. He moves his feet. He goes hands back. Not a lot of fouls. Able to be drawn on him. He is the guy that you want playing defense. The Fordham Rams use him so well. Sebastian Thomas on the island versus Zach Riley, I feel bad for Sebastian Thomas.
I'm most impressed with the defense early on. You know, even though the offense to end the season, 2 back-to-back bad games against GW and URI where they just didn't look like themselves. But defensively, it looks like a lot more commitment, a lot more effort on the defensive end to be in the right spots. It's been a really, really positive start for the Rams. Fordham Rams, that is, probably the best you could ask for.
Well, Medor's going back to the line after drawing the foul prior to the media timeout. Makes the first free throw. When you look at who's led this Fordham charge, 8 points from Johnson, 7 from Medor. Those are your top 2 offensive weapons, and those are the 2 veteran guards that are supposed to lead this team to victory.
Jackie already 2 for 2 from beyond the arc, and they were both absolute heaves. Absolute parking lot shots. Love to see more of that from him at an efficient clip in the following game in the nation's capital.
Medor, despite some of his late season free throw woes, has been perfect so far today. 6-6 at the line. Fordham up 18-10, 14-40 first half. Thomas, the lob, right wing for Lawrence. Throws it down low. It's intercepted by Medor. Medor straight down the middle, slows it down. Top of the key for Rivera. Fakes, drives, right lane. He's double teamed, but feeds away. And it rolls out. Contested shot there early in the shot clock from Rivera. Thomas quickly the other way. Up top for Fuchs. He'll pull from straight on. It's off the heel. And pulling off the rim by Josh Rivera. Fordham ahead by 8. Jackie slips left off a screen. Now slows it down at the A10 logo with Jaffe Medor. Medor bounce pass right elbow for Matt Zona. Fakes the handoff to Jackie. Lobs it. Jaffe Medor on the right wing. Corner for Rivera. The give and go to Zona. It's intercepted by Thomas. Thomas with numbers. Leaves it back for Green. Contested by Zach Riley. And it's the blocking foul. Riley had gotten a piece of the ball, but it seems evidently he also got a piece body to body there on the drive.
I think his heels might have been in the cylinder. Otherwise, that's a perfect charge drawn for Zach Riley. I love the hands back, hands up. Traditional defense. He's playing the game the right way. Zach Riley has been an absolute motor. It's his last game in college. He's got no more years of eligibility. They can't even finagle with it. He is playing for his life. You decide whether or not you play more than 40 minutes of basketball here in the nation's capital.
Baseline inbound. Thomas was trapped in the corner, and it's out of bounds. Last touch by Rhode Island. How about the trap in the far corner? Thomas tried to throw it off of the Fordham Rams, but to no avail.
And Coach Keith Urgo is fired up. That are the plays that he likes to see. Those are the plays he loves. That's why he loves this game so much.
Coach Urgo all season long has preached turning defense into offense. Fordham has a chance to do that. Jackie through the lane. Floater's good and 1. Fordham getting to the line in bunches, and it's already 10 points for Jackie Johnson.
The shot-making ability from Jaffe Medor and Jackie Johnson on full display in the opening 6.5 minutes here. Tough shots in the lane with contact. Jackie Johnson was so off balance as he threw that ball up with his left hand. I don't know how he made it.
It was the hard hedge from Lawrence that looked like a double. Jackie through dribble, split the defense, pressed pound with his offhand, and then threw it up with his right. A beautiful basketball play.
Johnson misses the free throw. Fordham ahead 20-10. Sebastian Thomas left wing, cross court. It's into the hands of Jabunji. Traore spinning into the lane. Right hand float is good. Nice touch by the big man.
Traore is massive out there. Him and Fuchs, the Twin Towers, an absolute beast of a duo for the Fordham Rams. He just moves Zach Riley like a chess piece.
2012 Fordham, 13 minutes first half. Riley dribbling right to left, hands off Rivera right wing. Left wing to Medor, pulls from three, and got it! Knocked to the ground, no foul call, but Medor's unreal right now.
That's with the hand of Jamarcus Lawrence inside of his face. He made that shot.
The Iceman, Jaffe Medor, pleading for landing space. Jamarcus Lawrence might as well have been tying his shoelaces. He was so close to him. You got to give Medor space. Give him a 4-point play.
Fordham ahead 23-12. Thomas muscling into the lane. Somehow gets it to Fuchs, who goes up strong and lays it in. Oh, there were 3 bodies in the paint, and somehow Rhode Island gets points out of that.
We mentioned how Green and Brown were pretty much absent on Saturday against Fordham. That's because David Fuchs was there cleaning things up with 10 points and 9 boards.
Riley up top, right wing feeds Zona. Hands off Johnson, steps behind 3-point land. Dribbles in the corner. Takes it out to the left wing, post feed for Zona. 8 on the shot clock. Zona spins to his right, a wild shot. Off the glass and no good. Rhode Island takes it up quickly. Fuchs up top. Swings left Thomas. Thomas off a screen. Drives right lane. Left hand float. No good. Fordham the rebound. Up by 9. It's been a really strong start for the Rams. Led by their 2 top guards, Johnson and Medor. Medor with 11. Johnson with 10. Johnson dribbles left off the Zona screen. Hands off Riley. Top of the key for Josh Rivera. Swings right Johnson. Couple jabs. Now dribbles right along the baseline. And fouled on the way as he tried to take that one up. Looked like an attempt by Rhode Island to strip him of the ball there, but too much contact inside.
Fordham straight up they're not avoiding contact, and that is so great to see. Getting to the lane, they want that contact, they want those free throws. 6 of 7 so far from the line. That's going to be key down the stretch here as we go into the second half. Fordham are going to keep, if they are going to keep getting fouled at this rate, you're going to have to continue to convert at the line.
A strong first 8 minutes for the last seed Fordham Rams, up 23-14, 11:24 left in the first half. Let's send it back to the Bronx. The Rose Hill Studios' Nathan Rogers has a one-on-one scoreboard update.
The one-on-one scoreboard. Welcome to March, everyone. The madness is beginning around conference tournament play with a full slate of games today. Staying in the nation's capital, the A10 men's basketball conference tournament has started with the Richmond Spiders playing the Davidson Wildcats earlier today. Davidson advances and holds off the Spiders 69-65. Later this afternoon, number 14 LaSalle tips off against 11th seeded UMass at 4:30 p.m. Moving on to top 25 hoops, in the second round of the Big 12 tournament, number 12 Iowa State leads Cincinnati 65-56 with 3 minutes left in the second half. They look to advance and move on to play 4th-seeded BYU. The SEC tourney has tipped off today with the Gamecocks of South Carolina facing an Arkansas team on the bubble, eyeing an at-large bid for the big dance. Arkansas leads 57-43 with 14 minutes left in the second half. Down in Texas, Charlotte kicks off the American Conference Tournament against Rice. The score there is 43-36, Rice leading. Out west, Wyoming tipped off shortly ago against San Jose State. The San Jose State Spartans leading 19-7 with 11 minutes left in the first half. We will keep you updated on 90.7 today on everything college basketball as Selection Sunday is just around the corner. With the one-on-one scoreboard, it's Nathan Rogers.
Blue Orlando, Nick Guzman, Chaz McAdams down in D.C. for day one of the A10 men's tournament. Well, great start for the Fordham Rams, up 23-14. You can't get comfortable because this Rhode Island offense, they can score in bunches. The top offense in the A10, they shoot the ball well from 3. They move quickly off the fast break. This is a dynamic Rhode Island offense, and they can get back in this game in a flash.
First in the A10 in fast break points. You think about a guy like Sebastian Thomas, only had 5 points in the first half against Fordham on Saturday. It's been a slow start for him out there this afternoon here in the nation's capital with just 2 points on 1 of 4 shooting. But he's a guy, like this entire Rhode Island team, that if you're not careful, can spring to life in a second and score points in bunches.
And their 3 big non-conference wins, that's Providence, Temple, Temple, and Charleston. They were all down multiple possessions in that game, and were able to come back behind Thomas, Green, and House. 3 guys that know how to score the basketball in important times. This Rhode Island team might be down now, but don't rest on your laurels because they can score in bunches.
Johnson goes 2 of 2 at the line as he's sent there on Jamarcus Lawrence's second foul of the game. Fordham back out to a double-digit lead, 25-14. Thomas driving left, throws it down low for Fuchs. Rivera nearly stripped it away. Rhode Island keeps it here. Thomas down the left side, a wild miss off the glass with the left hand as he hung in the air. It's out of bounds, last touch by Fordham.
Pretty much the last 3 or 4 Rhode Island possessions have been Sebastian Thomas trying to drive his way inside and kind of throwing a wild shot up there with his left hand. We know how good of a shot maker he is, but Fordham will definitely settle for all these off-balance attempts.
It's the big man Traore up top, swings it left. Cam Estevez hit 4 threes last time against the Rams. Medor gets a fingertip on the right wing pass, knocks it out of bounds. Stays here with Rhode Island, 2.7 on the shot clock.
You love that deflection from Jaffe Medor, getting his hand in the passing lanes.
Thomas, right wing 3, it's left short. The rebound by Fordham. 10:50 first half, Rams ahead 25-14. Medor sits at half court, bounces left elbow for Tripp. Rips through, drives right lane, kicks for Johnson. Johnson in the far corner, drives baseline, left it short on the layup. Rhode Island the other way, looking to capitalize off the miss. Trailing by 11, Fuchs top of the key. Right wing for Thomas. Thomas drifts right. Bounce on the near block for Fuchs, works on Timbila. Left hand hook. No good in the rebound by Fordham.
A lot of ill-advised shots for the Rhode Island Rams so far. If I'm Archie Miller, I don't like anything that I'm seeing.
Johnson blitzed up top, and his bounce pass goes out of bounds. And there's a turnover for the Fordham Rams, and unfortunately, that's something they've done quite a bit this season. 13 turnovers, 13.4 turnovers this season. That leads the A10 in a bad way.
And Jackie Johnson in particular, 13 turnovers in his last 2 games, had 6 Saturday against Rhode Island, 7 the game before against GW. It's a part of the game he has to clean up. We know the shot-making ability is there, but his turnovers typically are bad ones that lead to fast breaks the other way.
Estevez off the handoff, gives to Brown. Brown hands off for Thomas, moving left. Right wing for Green. David Green, the versatile big man. Drives inside on the left wing, leaves it short the layup. Rebound is batted around and ultimately secured by Tripp. Pass out near side to Medor. Medor going coast to coast. Got it to go! He threw it up as he was horizontal to the ground. It falls and he draws the foul.
My gosh, Jaffe Medor was already well on the ground before that ball even had a dream of going in the basket. The acrobatics, the athleticism, the strength. That is number 0. That is your captain, Jaffe Medor.
What do we always say? Defense can turn into offense. Fordham so good on the defensive end over this last stretch. Rhode Island scoreless in the last 2:48. 0 for their last 5 from the field, 2 for their last 10. Fordham first forcing the Rhode Island Rams into tough, contested shots, off-balance shots. They don't go, and Fordham can run in transition and get an opportunity like that for Jaffe Medor to take the ball to the basket.
Once again, Medor finishes the 3-point play, 14 points on 3 of 3 shooting, and 7 of 7 at the line. It's Fordham ahead 28-14, 9:34 first half. Spinning into the lane and leaving it short is Jaden House, and the rebound corralled by Tripp. Fordham looking to run. It's Medor once again. Draws the foul once again.
And keep getting to the line, Jaffe Medor. That's how they play ball down there in South Florida. They play acrobatic. He plays like a firecracker. Jaffe Medor able to get to the free throw line at an alarming rate so far this game.
And how about this? Against a Rhode Island team that this is usually their bread and butter. They get to the line more than any team in the A10. It's Fordham that's already got Rhode Island in the bonus, and there's 9:15 left in the first half.
And at this point, keep driving, keep taking that contact. The whistles are coming. And when you're shooting the free throws this well, Jaffe Medor and Jackie Johnson, I mean, Jaffe now 8 for 8 on the afternoon. It doesn't get any better than that.
And fellas, real quick, that's the 3rd foul on Jamarcus Lawrence, their starting shooting guard.
Oh my gosh, this Rhode Island team mentally does not look ready. If I'm Archie Miller, there's a timeout brewing right there in my right hand, able to call that, put the T motion up. I need one.
Medora takes both. He stays perfect at the line, 9 for 9. And it's the Rams ahead big, 30-14. 9:08 first half. Thomas fighting through a screen. And it's Ryan Pettis, the freshman, that got in the way and calling for the foul on the body-to-body contact.
But I love the aggression there from R&P. The freshman out of California knows what he needs to do. Set the tone early.
Inbound to Cam Estevez on the near side. Bounces straight on for Thomas. Thomas dribbling left. Moves right off the screen. Thomas in the lane. Left-hand float. Nothing but net. And they can't let Sebastian Thomas heat up. Just 4 points so far, but the fourth leading scorer in the A10.
And they needed that one to go in. Such a long drought. Almost 4 minutes without a bucket before that one from Sebastian Thomas.
30-16 Fordham, 8:40 first half. It's Medora running point on the near side. Steps back, swings left into the corner for Dean. His corner three rolls out, and the foul in the corner. I think that's going to be a shooting foul, and Ramad Dean getting 3 free throws.
At this point for Rhode Island, you got to start to be mindful of your space when you're closing out on any kind of shooting opportunity. Fordham drawing fouls like crazy here.
This is the third three-pointer where I've seen contact. 2 of them, including this one called. The one on Jaffe Medora earlier, not the one he made. This is unreal.
8 personal fouls by Rhode Island. 8:32 left in the first half.
And if we're talking about 3 free throws in a row, Ramad Dean's very familiar with this situation. I'll take you back to the 100th anniversary at the Rose Hill Gym.
Can we cue the music?
Cue the horns. There's a way that when Roman threw up that half-court heave just to get a prayer and was fouled by the UMass Minutemen, that was 3 free throws that not a lot of people expected to go in. Roman Dean had to hit all 3 to tie it up, send it to double overtime.
And it's fitting you mentioned that game because you want to talk about a game that had an abundance of fouls. That triple overtime thriller between Fordham and UMass would certainly qualify.
Set the record. That's when Jamison O'Toole got called for a block on the most obvious charge I've ever seen in my life.
Ramad Dean takes all 3 free throws, and Fordham, who has not been a great free throw shooting team the last few seasons, they have been money so far today. They got 33-16. House to the lane. Kick out for Estevez. Right wing 3. Off left iron. Rebound fought for, kept here by David Green. Thomas swung right to House. Corner for Estevez, and Zona out to meet him. 14 on the shot clock. It's House dribbling on the right wing. Drives left, spins into the lane. Contested floater, no good. Tripp the rebound. Another good defensive stop for Fordham. Tripp driving on the left side. Slows it down for Ryan Pettis. And will take up shot at the A10 logo at half court. Fordham up 33-16. 7:50 first half. Pettis left wing Tripp down low for Dean. Fakes, goes up, draws the foul.
How's that for offense? What a feed from Jameer Tripp down low to Ramad Dean. Perfectly feathered that pass in there. This looks like a more creative version of the Fordham offense than we've seen all season.
Please, Chaz.
I am amazed right now. I have never seen a team see the playoff logo, get under the bright lights of the Capitol Center, and play some unreal basketball. Basketball we've never seen from the uniforms in maroon and gray.
It's Fordham up 30-16 with 7:43 left in the first half. And we'll take a quick break for the men's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hey, it's Chaz McAdams here calling you to tune in to WFUV Sports One-on-One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. With hot takes covering all sports from the 5 boroughs and beyond to interviews with some of the biggest names in sports media. We're live Saturdays on the WFUV Sports YouTube from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then later on 90.7 FM from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Come join us next Saturday for One-on-One.
The number 15 seed Fordham Rams, 8 straight losses going into the A10 tournament. They have come shot out of a cannon up 33-16 on a Rhode Island team that beat them by 19 just 4 days ago. They're getting to the line in bunches. They have a double-digit lead. The offense is firing at a 60% clip. They've made 14 of 15 free throws. What hasn't gone well for the Fordham Rams here in the first half?
there's no way that I can explain as a broadcaster the turnaround that we see from just 4 days ago, 3 short sleeps ago. This Rhode Island team dismantled that Rams offense and made their defense look weak. Now the tables have completely flipped, and we are watching the team from the Bronx dominate on their Ram counterpart.
I can't really believe what I'm seeing. It's a complete turnaround from Saturday. Fordham shooting so efficiently, getting to the free throw line, knocking down their free throws, and being in the right spots on defense and forcing tough contested twos from this Rhode Island team that's shooting just 30% from the field. Yes, it's a long game. We still got the rest of this first half, the second half. There's a lot of time for this to get messed up. But this has been about as good of a start as you could possibly ask for Keith Urga.
I mean, and let's just be completely blunt. Yes, it's an 8-game losing streak, but when you look at the way Fordham closed out the season, the last 2 games, a 20-point blowout against GW and a 19-point blowout against Rhode Island, this is a Fordham team that frankly lacked effort, lacked hustle, lacked drive, and now all of a sudden it's a completely different looking team here in the A10 tournament.
It's win or go home, and they don't want to be on that bus back to the Bronx anytime soon. Holy Rams.
The energy was just really so low in those last 2 games against GW and URI. I think you could say earlier in the season when Fordham were losing a lot of games in conference play, the effort was there. A lot of those games were close down the stretch that just didn't go Fordham's way. But those last 2 were just such poor efforts for this turnaround early in the first half. It's pretty remarkable.
Dean takes both free throws at the line. It's a 35-16 lead. 7:35 first half. House, right wing Estevez. Fordham swinging a zone hybrid. Estevez, free throw line. Right wing for House. House takes a bump from Mador. House will chuck up the shot, but it's a foul on the line, and that's just Fordham's 3rd team foul of the game.
And you got to watch for that arm bar when you see someone driving in there. You know when they make that first quick step, you got to go hands out and move your feet only. Wait for that arm bar when you got some post action going.
Minor correction, 15 foul for the Rams. Thomas left wing, moves right off his screen, pick and roll, kicks out in the corner for Estevez. Back to Thomas on the left wing. Drives into the lane, picked up by Zona. Bounce pass down low, stripped away by Johnson, and Tripp picks it up. Fordham up 19, and a chance to extend as they make another strong defensive play. The door in half court. Bounce left elbow extended for Dean. Into the paint for Tripp. Double team. Kicks for Zona. Swings it to Dean. Top of the key. Buries the 3. It's a 22-point lead for Fordham.
Ramad Dean has struggled so much shooting that 3 down the stretch. It's 4 of his last 30 coming into this game, but he knocks that one down. Fordham are flying.
Estevez drive and kick. Here's Thomas. Fakes the float. Throws it down low for Fuchs, who draws the foul and banks it in. Going to the line for one more, in Rhode Island breaks a 2-minute-long scoring drought. 38-18, 6:30 first half, as Fuchs goes to the line.
And there's a reason I called Sebastian Thomas the best point guard in this league. Getting Rivera and Dean up in the air and then scooping that pass into Fuchs. That's Magic Johnson level. Hit him with the heave. That was tough.
And they do that because you have to contest Sebastian Thomas. Fuchs misses the free throw, but it's rebounded by Green, goes back up, gets the shot to fall, and draws the foul. A potential 5-point swing for Rhode Island as they're trying to show that they won't quit in this game here in the first half.
That's a tough swing to swallow through the Fordham Rams. You got to be able to rebound off of a free throw, off of the and one opportunity. These are the first real clean looks down low Rhode Island has gotten, able to take the contact and get to the line, taking a page out of Fordham's book early in this one.
Green misses the free throw, but the rebound by Rhode Island again. It's House that swatted away, and Fordham prevents any further damage. Johnson left wing. Dribble drive into the lane. Fakes, turns around, left hand floats good. So smooth, it stops at a dime.
That's a pro move. That up fake spin back on his pivot. That's a pro move, Jackie Johnson.
40 points in the first half for Fordham. There's still 6:05 to go. Estevez left off a screen, pulls from mid-range, and drew the foul on the jumper.
And Fordham with 3 fouls on back-to-back possessions. Remain calm. Inhale, exhale, deep breath. You're up 20, but don't let that voice in the back of your head that we could lose this situation. Just continue. I say this all the time. Maintain excellence on the basketball court.
Both teams in the bonus with 5:59 left here in half number 1. Estevez, the sophomore from Harlem, heads to the line. 12 points in his last effort against Fordham, went 4 of 8 from three-point land. That was a big part of URI getting that 19-point win.
Listen, Lou, Fordham are not going to keep shooting 66% from the field in this game. So when the numbers do finally start to come down, that's when the defensive effort can't change because it's been so good early in this one. When the baskets finally stop going in, which they are going to, Fordham are not going to shoot 66% in this game. You can't let it affect both ends of the floor.
Yeah, also the rebounding numbers. Rhode Island with 5 offensive rebounds and 7 bench points to Fordham 0 in both those categories. Those should find a median too.
Estevez makes both at the line. 40-22, Fordham ahead, 5:52 first half. Medor at half court, bounce left wing for Ahmad Dean. Dribbles straight on, pulls the three, misses off left iron. Offensive rebound, Timbila. Keeps it here for Fordham, left wing three, Johnson, the air ball. Dean tries to save, instead just bats it out of bounds.
First bad miss we've seen from Jackie. That one, probably an easier shot than the 2 deep threes he made earlier. He was open on that one, just trying to get it up quickly.
It's just all about finding the rhythm there. I'm not too worried about Jackie Johnson, and I don't think he's worried about missing one either, considering his history.
5:36 first half. Hand off to Estevez, dribbling left. It's Fuchs top of the key. Gives it to Thomas. The throw back to House, driving inside. Misses the contested 2. Rhode Island wants a foul, and there was a lot of contact there at the rim. Medor over on the left wing. Throws it back for Dean. Straight on Rivera. Pulls from 3. Too strong. Batted back to Medor. Out of bounds. Last touch by Rhode Island. It was Thomas and Medor in the same spot for that rebound over by the scorer's table on the far side. Evidently Thomas the last touch.
Those are 2 guys who are going to lay out for a loose ball. Fun to see a scrap between those 2, Medor and Thomas.
So 20 on the shot clock. Rivera the high side inbound in front of the Rhode Island bench. Fordham ahead by 18. Timbila top of the key. Dribbles left, hands off Johnson. Johnson deep on the left wing. Surveys the court. 5 on the shot clock. Swing left, Rivera. 3 on the shot clock. Step back, left wing 3. Air balls. The rebound by Fuchs. Couple bad offensive possessions for Fordham. Thomas going coast to coast. Puts it off the glass and misses. That's an uncharacteristic miss by Sebastian Thomas. How about Thomas staying in the paint, tries to rip that ball away from Josh Rivera. It's a jump ball and possession, Rhode Island. So Thomas gets an extra possession for the Rams.
Thomas playing with a lot of frustration here. You can see the anger in his game starting to seethe and come out. Normally a cool, calm, and collected player, but when you're down 18 to a team you usually dominate, it's not something you like to see.
Inbound to Fuchs left wing, hands off to the sophomore Estevez. Estevez, post feed for Fuchs. Got the matchup on Dean. Fuchs turns around and draws the foul on the rip through. A little bit of shoving here between David Green and Jafane Medor after the fact. And we'll see if things get chippy again. 9 fouls for Fordham, 9 fouls for Rhode Island. There's been a lot of contact on both sides.
These teams don't like each other, straight up.
I mean, they've seen each other now 3rd straight time.
That will happen if you play the same team 3 times within a season. You know, Sebastian Thomas picked up the tech on Saturday. Jackie Johnson was getting into a little bit with the Rhode Island players also 4 days ago. It's going to be chippy year down the stretch.
I think it's safe to say this rivalry goes a little bit deeper than just the fact they share the same name.
Yes.
It's not just the Battle of the Rams. These 2 teams have had some history. Fuchs makes the first free throw. And even the recent history, if you look at the last 10 years between these 2 Rams, it's 7-7. Dead even between Fordham and Rhode Island. So it's always been a fairly even, almost always very competitive matchup between these 2 schools.
And they're really, you can see it out there, just the intensity. This is as hard, I think, as Fordham have played in a very long time, at least in the last couple of weeks, in terms of effort and intensity on both ends of the floor.
No doubt about that. Fuchs makes both. 40-24 first half. Still a 16-point lead for the Fordham Rams. 4:20 left here in the first half. Riley on the right wing. He's blitzed and double-teamed. Picks up his dribble, wants an outlet. It's Timbila right wing. Hand off for Johnson. Right elbow 2. He got it. Hung in the air. Brought the feet up and buries the shot.
Jackie's an absolute athlete. The way he plants on those jump shots is unreal.
Jam House left wing. Up top for Fuchs, swung right for Estevez. Estevez moving left. Dribble drive, kicks for House. Left wing three, he got it. Rhode Island can use some of that to crawl back into this one. Made 10 threes last time out against Fordham, and House gets his second.
And just the second as a team for Rhode Island. That's a big reason why they blew Fordham out on Saturday was the three-point shooting, but Fordham have done so well closing out shooters early.
42-27 Fordham, 3:30 to go, half number one. Medor on the left wing. Bounce down low for Rivera, spins inside and lays it in with his hands at the rim. 44-27. House right wing, straight on Fuchs, open for three, he pulls and buries. It's the big man nailing from deep.
And you're going to live with that shot. It's just his 16th three-point attempt of the year. Second today, though.
And just his fourth make of the season. But Fuchs does, and that will get Rhode Island to the 30-point mark. 44-30, 2:56 first half. Johnson drab and jive, kicks to Medor, wide open in the corner. He got it! And Fordham quick with an answer.
It's a shot-making exhibition.
19 points in the first half for Jaffe Medor. Thomas deep on the left wing. Cuts inside, draws the foul at the free throw line. And he's going to the line. He's shooting two after the break. Fordham continuing to add. They've got 47 points in half number one. Medor leads the way with 19. Lou Orlando, Chaz McAdams, Nick Guzman, Fordham men's basketball. And now time for another update from Nathan Rogers.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Sticking with the madness of college basketball today, nationally ranked number 12 Iowa State holds off Cincinnati in a commanding win, 76-56, and advances to the next round in the Big 12 tourney to play BYU. Over in the powerhouse of the SEC, Arkansas leads South Carolina 61-53 with 7 minutes to go. Arkansas trying to hold off the Gamecocks as they eye an at-large bid for March Madness. Down in Texas, the American Conference tournament teams Charlotte and Rice are battling. The score there is 49-48. The Rice Owls leading with 6 minutes to go. Out west, the San Jose Spartans lead Wyoming 38-18 with halftime coming in under a minute of play. Over in the ACC tourney, the Fighting Irish just tipped off against the UNC Tar Heels. That score is 8-1 Tar Heels with 7 minutes to go. Segueing into New York sports, for our baseball fans in MLB spring training, the New York Mets are up 1-0 against the Cardinals in the bottom of the 7th. Also, both New York NBA teams are on the road today as the Knicks travel to Portland to face an up-and-coming Blazers team. Tip-off tonight is at 10 p.m. Eastern. Finally, the Nets travel to Chicago to face a Bulls team that's on a 3-game win streak. That tip-off is at 8 p.m. Eastern. We will continue with some updates later in the second half of this Fordham men's basketball game. With the one-on-one scoreboard, it's Nathan Rogers.
Fordham 47, Rhode Island 30. And in this one, it starts with the guards. Jaffe Medor, 19 points. Jackie Johnson, 16.
How's that going?
Nick, we've seen quite a few really good guards play at the Capital One Arena. Maybe seeing some visions out here on the court.
I literally feel like I'm watching John Wall and Bradley Beal play for the Wizards right now. In terms of shot-making ability, tough shots, off balance, on the move, planting, stopping on a dime, they've done everything Jackie Johnson and Jaffe Medor on the offensive end. And it's shot-making ability that we haven't seen really in a long time, particularly from Jaffe Medor. Perfect 4-4 from the field, 9 of 9 from the free throw line. Jackie's drilled some deep threes. He's gone inside, gotten to the lane. It's just been such an impressive start for this whole Fordham team, but in particular, their 2 star guards on the offensive end.
And with Fordham leading by 17, I think back to the other 2 times Fordham has had at least 45 points going into halftime. It was the Dayton game and the St. Joe's game. Dayton, they were tied at halftime. St. Joe's, they were up 2. After both games, Coach Ergo said, when we have offensive outbursts like that, we need to be up by at least double digits. They have a chance here with 2:36 left in the first half. They need to maintain this big lead going into halftime.
This absolutely has to be a strong finish to this half for the Fordham Rams. You can't let this get down towards 10.
A 50-point half would be everything for the Rams. Their defense has looked as the Rams' defense of old, though. See people diving on the floor for loose balls. I like what I'm seeing out there. Oh, Rams!
Thomas takes both free throws after the media timeout, 47-32. The Fordham Rams ahead, 2:30 left in the first half. It's Medora on the far side, bounces straight on for Zona. Zona with space, dribbles left, hands off Riley. Gives over to Medora. 12 on the shot clock. Medora dribbles on the left wing, steps back, the three. Misses off the right iron. Zona fighting for the offensive rebound, he got it. Down low for Rivera, goes up strong off glass.
Crashing the offensive glass. Matt Zona not giving up on that play and then finding the perfect pass inside for Josh Rivera.
49-32, final 2 minutes of half number one. Estevez, left wing for Thomas. Thomas to the left foul line for Fuchs. Thomas gets it back, drops it down low for Jabunji. Smooth ball carrying or smooth ball movement, and Jabunji finishes inside.
Thomas's ability to read a defense, draw the double, and have those quick dump passes is unreal. It's a pro-level play.
49-34, minute and a half to go in half number one. Johnson spins in the lane, blocked by House. And it stays here with the Rams.
Great defense there by House. I mean, he elevated so high for that block and rejected it out of bounds. You love that defensive effort for the Rhode Rams.
It's the 10-15 seed game in round number one. Johnson left wing off the inbound. Pulls the contested three and left it off front iron. Rebound by Jabunji. Moving with speed. Hands off Estevez. Estevez left off the screen. Steps back behind the three-point line. Now drives left of the lane. Turning around, the fader is left short. And the foul on the floor. Looking to go against the Fordham Rams. Fordham has already put Rhode Island in the double bonus. And that's Jackie Johnson calling for his second.
Yeah, on that rebound. That was great defense there, though, by Zona. A much quicker, faster player in Estevez. And then Zona able to keep up with him and contest that pivot mid-range jumper, that fader mag. That's great defense from a guy not known for it.
104 left to go here. Fordham up by 15 with halftime not too far away. Jabunji misses the first free throw. I was going to say Rhode Island has a chance here in this final minute, especially with the rate they've been getting to the line, to claw into this, get it closer to single digits than it's been for most of this half.
You mentioned earlier Rhode Island's so good at getting to the free throw line. Actually making those free throws has been the problem.
That has been the issue. You look at it on the season, 69.5% from the line. That places them in the bottom five of the A10. Jabunji, a 72.2% shooter. He missed both. Rebound by Riley. Fordham not taking any damage from that foul by Johnson. Final minute here in half number one from D.C. Medora up top, drives left off the screen, through the lane, cuts inside, and it rolled out. Had a good chance on the right-hand layup. Could not get it to fall. House dribbling far side, straight on Fuchs. Final 35 seconds of half number one. House, right off the screen. Takes the right wing three, contested, doesn't matter. Buried. 49-37 in the final 25 seconds of half number one. And head coach Keith Ergo will call a timeout and set up one last play for the Fordham Rams. Shot clock is off so they can hold to the buzzer here at halftime. That's a big dagger, though.
Sometimes when things aren't clicking on offense, as they haven't been in this pretty much this entire first half for Rhode Island, you got to make tough shots. Jaden House, that's a step-back three for a guy who doesn't shoot the three that well, but the last couple of games really come alive. He's 3 of 8 from the field in this one, but 3 of 3 from beyond the arc. That's 3 of Rhode Island's 4 made threes. A big reason why they've clawed into this deficit to make it a 12-point game.
That snatch back into the elevation on that three was poetry from the Rhode Island Rams. And then, again, when you have your guys that aren't usually making shots like that, hitting them, that's when you know you're in a good spot.
A lot of the offensive highlighting on this Rhode Island team goes the way of Sebastian Thomas, and again, makes sense. 4th in the A10 in scoring. Jaden House, particularly against the Rams, both 4 days ago and today, has been arguably their best offensive player. 19 points 4 days ago against the Rams, and now again today, 11 points. He's been the one bright spot of this Rhode Island team. he's got 3 of their 4 3-pointers.
It's been necessary with Sebastian Thomas getting off to a slow start in the first half, but he's a guy who could come alive at any point. But House has really kept them in it with his 3-point shooting.
Far side inbound for the Rams. Tripp throws it into the backcourt where it's retrieved by Medor. And Medor will slowly take it up as Fordham can hold for the final shot here in half number 1. It's Medor, face guarded by Thomas at the half-court line. Final 8 seconds. Medor drives left lane, hangs, no foul. Rebound by Tripp, throws it back up, no good as well. Back out to Zona, final second. Johnson's 3, no good. Fordham has 3 chances on that final possession at halftime. Nothing goes, and they'll head into halftime with a 12-point lead. So, by the letter of the law, you take a double-digit lead into halftime. I guess the other side is this was a lot larger of a lead probably 2 minutes ago. Rhode Island surges back to make this a little bit closer and to open up that window for a second-half comeback.
I think you'd like to be up by a little more than 12 considering the balance of the play for most of that first half. But the reality is you're entering halftime of an Atlantic 10 tournament game up by 12. Now, we've seen too many times this season those 3 to 4 minute stretches that we've talked so often on the broadcast where this Fordham team essentially forgets how to play good fundamental basketball. And those stretches, it usually results in a 10-0 run for the other team. At this point, that could get a team like Rhode Island in the second half back into the game. So Keith Ergo needs to make sure that his guys are locked in coming out of the second half. You can't afford to have those stretches where really Fordham just forgets how to play basketball.
Absolutely, the Rams, it's that before the under-16 media in the second half where there's been a lot of struggle. Non-con it started and it's carried on and off in conference play. I think the Rams need to do a better job of coming out of the half with some momentum, with some gusto. Usually they don't have as big of a lead as this. They haven't had as big of a lead as this going into a halftime in the last 6 games.
Bottom line, you can't rest on your laurels.
Well, Jaffe Medor, Jackie Johnson have led the Rams to a 12-point lead at halftime. Number 15 Fordham, number 10 Rhode Island in a Battle of the Rams Part 3. Strong first half for the Fordham Rams, and with that, we'll send it back to the Bronx. It's the one-on-one halftime show with Owen Kelty and Nathan Rogers. We'll be back in a bit.
The one-on-one halftime report. Thank you for joining us once again at the Rose Hill Studios for the one-on-one halftime report. I am Owen Kelty, joined by Nathan Rogers. Fordham leading this one 49-37. Offensively, they came out on fire in that first half. The defensive effort at the beginning, you got to love it so far. Not what we've seen a lot so far this year. Jackie Johnson and Jaffe Medor are cooking on the offensive end. 16 for Jackie Johnson III and 19 for Jaffe Medor. Overall, this half, if you look at the big picture of it, has been very good. Fordham scoring their most points in a first half this season. You have to be happy with how they've come out, especially coming off 8 straight losses. But at the end, they stagger a little bit. Big thanks to our producer, Kurt Sipple, for letting me know. Fordham is 9-3 when leading at the half. So that tells you a lot about how they haven't been leading at the half so far this year. But, Nathan, I just want to throw it to you. What have we liked so far from this first half?
Wow, the offense was very surprising today at the nation's capital for the Fordham men's basketball team today. Ergo talking before the game, they wanted to play at their pace today, especially well in transition and staying tight at the half-court line. They did that, letting up a lot of shots with about 6 minutes left in the first half. URI scoring about 15-plus points in under 6 minutes. So Jaden House getting three of 4 total threes this half. They did a good job of closing out three-point shooters up until Jaden House got hot. Jackie Johnson just turning defense to offense there. He was lights out, getting in the lane. Just such a strong ability there. Also, the shot-making creation by Medor and Jackie Johnson. Great duo there to open up the first half.
I mean, Jackie Johnson and Jaffe Medor are on fire right now. They've combined for 35 of Fordham's 49 points. But we talked about this before the game. There has to be other people showing up. I mean, I don't know if anyone saw this performance coming from them. I mean, 19 points at the half. He's on fire. This got to be one of his best games of the season. And as Chaz mentioned, they've showed up for the A10 tournament, but it's something we always talk about when talking about this Fordham basketball team. It's a tale of two halves, and we saw them really good in this first half, but towards the end there, they started to spiral a little bit. Rhode Island goes on a bit of a run. Rhode Island made 4 of their last 5 shots. Fordham, no points in the last 2/8 of the half. That is not going to cut it if they want to hold this lead in the second half.
Definitely have to focus on the defensive side of the ball here. Urgo obviously has been banging the drum for defensive stops this whole entire season. He's a defensive-minded coach, so he needs to go into the halftime, talk to his players, get them locked in defensively, close out those shooters. Also, URI is a bottom 5 team, as Lou Orlando of the broadcast down in the nation's capital pointed out, in the A10 for free throw shooting. So they're getting to the charity stripe, just not shooting well there. So boding well for the Fordham offense and the defense. The Fordham offense leading since 1:44 to start in the first half. So dominating first half. They need to hang on to the electricity of the offense. I would like to see Jameer Tripp get involved. 0 points in the first half for Tripp, although he had his best game probably in conference play since November on Saturday. So Tripp's got to get in the lane, go up strong, control the glass there for Tripp. Also, how about Rivera with 4 points? Those 4 points were great for Rivera.
Yeah, I think we're going to need to see more from other people in that second half, because you cannot just rely on 2 players, especially against a Rhode Island team. But if you look at their side of the ball, Sebastian Thomas has killed Fordham in their last 2 matchups. 20 points in each game, respectively. And this game, he's 6 points, 2 for 8, and he played the entire first half of this game. If you're Rhode Island, you're expecting a lot. When you're playing a guy the entire first half, you're expecting a lot more from him. And if you look at Fordham's side, Jaffe Modore, 19 minutes, and Jackie Johnson, 19 minutes. If Fordham's going to win this game, I think you have to expect them both to play almost the entire second half, or similar to what they did in the first half. But Rhode Island's kind of spread out their rotation a bit more, which does worry me a little bit for that second half. Because if we're relying on Jackie Johnson III and Jaffe Modore to score that many points again, they're going to get burnt out. And besides Sebastian Thomas, Rhode Island's really spread out their rotation.
Right, they got to play at their own pace, as Urgo was talking about. They can't let the Rhode Island Rams get ahead of them in transition. This is where that Rhode Island team gets hot. They're the number 1 ranked team in the A10 conference, so they got to do well. They did so well in the first half, holding Thomas to 6 points. 6 points, correct?
Mm-hmm,
and
yeah.
6 points, and he was the leading scorer with 20 last game. So Fordham was 11 of 32 against Rhode Island in the first half on Saturday, shooting 34%. Today, they're 46%. So great offensively. They need to continue that and close out the shooters beyond the arc.
Yeah, it's been good too. We've been talking about behind the arc. Rhode Island's only taken 7 threes, and I think when you look at Fordham's success, a lot of times when you've looked at their halves this year, they've taken so many threes. You've been looking at half totals around the 20s, 5 of 12 so far, and that has been their key to success. Really getting to the line has been great for them, and making their free throws. 16 of 17 for the team, 94%. Jaffe Modore, 9 of 9 from the free throw line. Rhode Island, 9 of 14. This game could come down to a free throw battle, and Fordham getting to the line, they're getting to the paint, has been a complete opposite way that we've seen most of this season. They've been relying so much on the three-point ball, and now that they're kind of going to the paint, we've seen it working out for them. And I think, looking forward to the second half, do you think they need to keep going, looking at the paint and kind of keeping what they're going? Because if you look at how that half ended, Rhode Island had a lot of the momentum, and it wasn't looking good. In that first half, Fordham had a stretch where they held Rhode Island scoreless for 3 minutes. Rhode Island was shooting 1 for 9 in that stretch, but then they got hot to end that second half. Should the mindset be play similar to the first half, or do you think they need to change it up and look at something different? Because that the way it half ended, I don't think bodes well for Fordham.
I think the mindset was correct in the first half. It was very surprising to see Fordham offense and Maroon today playing their best offense they've played all season. I think they really need to continue this in the second half. As you said, a little bit of a scoring drought with like 3 minutes to go in the first half. But you talked about points in the paint. Rhode Island Rams dominated the team in Maroon on Saturday with 42 points in the paint. Fordham Rams holding them to around 16 points in the paint today. So good job there. Also, I want to bring in the point that the Fordham Rams only have 4 total turnovers in the first half. For a team that doesn't really hold on to the ball well, control the ball on the offensive side. 4 total turnovers is amazing. So I think the mindset is right. You want a winner. this is a win or go home tournament, and you want to be the former rather than the latter.
Especially when you look at how the last 8 games have gone. You love to see the momentum that they've come out with and the fire and energy. I mean, maybe it took them this long to realize this is basically a brand new season. It's win or go home. We talked about it on Saturday and the game before that when it was the last home game when me and you worked that one. This might be the last game at Rose Hill for a lot of these guys, and maybe it didn't hit them until now that this could be the last basketball game that they'll ever play in their lives, and we've seen that so far. They've come out with a lot of hustle, and looking forward to the second half. I love what they've been doing with Jackie and Jaffe, but someone else is going to have to step up if they're going to win this game. Fordham in that first half led for 18 minutes, 21 seconds. Rhode Island only held the lead for 16. They got to get down on defense, and they got to get better in the second half, not letting Rhode Island go on these runs. But that's going to do it for us. The Rams are on fire right now after that first half, leading 49-37. We're going to send it back to Lou, Nick, and Chaz in D.C. for the second half.
What's up, everyone? I'm Will Talent.
And I'm Evan Harkin. We're 2 of your hosts for NFL Friday, WFUV Sports' exclusive NFL podcast.
From breaking down the weekly slate to fantasy football pickups, we've got you covered on all things around the NFL.
Stay tuned for our hosts' weekly picks as they compete against each other all season long.
Football is here, and so is NFL Friday.
What's up, everyone? I'm Evan Harkin, your New York Jets beat reporter for the 2024 season. Stay up to date with all things white and green from MetLife Stadium. From Aaron Rodgers' touchdowns to Sauce Gardner interceptions, I've got you covered. So join me and Gang Green on Twitter at Ev Harkin and stay locked in with the JETS on WFUV, your home for New York sports.
Round 1 of the A10 Men's Championship. The number 15 seed Fordham Rams, the number 10 seed Rhode Island Rams. Well, it was an electric first half for the Fordham Rams. The most points they've scored in a first half against a D1 opponent this season. 49 points. They shot 46% from the field. 19 points from Jaffe Medor. 16 points from Jackie Johnson. They have a 12-point lead up 49-37. I'm joined by Chaz McAdams and Nick Guzman. Gentlemen, they have to come out in this second half with immense energy. You can't come out and act like you have a 12-point lead. We've seen Fordham blow games before. We've seen Fordham blow leads before. We've seen them really struggle in the second half. They really have to treat this like it's a dead even game.
100%, Lou. Listen, yes, it's a 12-point lead at halftime. It was a 22-point lead with about 6.5 minutes to go in that first half. Rhode Island slowly closed that gap. Not by really playing that fantastic, just some of the shots that weren't falling early started to go in. They started to get some more whistles as they drove to the drove to the basket to get to the free throw line. And I think for Fordham, I agree 100%, Lou. You can't treat this like you have a 12-point lead. You have to keep the intensity and aggression that you had in that first half that lets you get out to that big lead in the first place.
Almost like you're down 12, I would say, is the mentality. You got to go and you got to come out swinging, because there is no way that this Rhode Island team is going to let you have that 12-point lead and just stick with it.
And in this first couple minutes of the upcoming second half, you feel like if Rhode Island do start really positively, then the belief for them starts to grow that coming back from this deficit is something that they can do. So for Fordham, it's so important in these opening 4 or 5 minutes to keep things under control. You can't let Rhode Island go on a run. Try to get the offense back cooking to where it was with about 5 minutes to go in that first half. Things kind of dried up down the stretch. Jackie started to miss, and just the shots started to go in at a lower clip. I think for Fordham, you got to just keep doing what you're doing in that first half, and don't get overwhelmed if a couple of shots start to fall for Rhode Island. This is an elite offensive team that's great at scoring. They're going to make a push. This is the Atlantic 10 tournament. They're going to make a push in the second half. You just have to weather the storm, and you can't get overwhelmed.
If the Rams do come out swinging, though, and do make it a very difficult time for the Rhode Island Rams by the time we're at the under-16 media, or even at the under-12 when we're hearing Nathan Rogers' passionate voice on the updates, I think these Rhode Island Rams, they seem mentally weak right now, and I think the Fordham can put that nail in the coffin. But a lot of work to do, a lot of ground to make up.
Well, the one thing I would say that points to a second half resurgence by Rhode Island, besides the fact that Sebastian Thomas only has 6 points on 2 of 8 shooting, a trend that no one expects to continue in the second half, is that all 9 players that have checked in for Rhode Island are on the scoreboard in some capacity from a scoring standpoint. House has 11 points. You've got 9 from Fuchs. And again, balanced scoring all the way up and down. Madore and Johnson have 73% of Fordham's scoring right now. If one of them cools off, this is a much different looking game.
Absolutely. Or spin zone, people are due. You know what I mean? Josh Rivera with only 4 to his name. Abdi Tambila's only taken 1 shot so far this entire game. So it seems to me that there's a sense for the Rams that they can really go and get it done. But it's a matter of, are you going to stand behind Madore and Johnson and let them do it, or are you going to lift them up with your own scoring? That mentality shift is important. Those are your 2 guys, but you need to support them as much as you can with your scoring, rather than defaulting to them as the scorers.
Especially, as you guys both hit on, a Rhode Island offense that leads the A10 in scoring, has numerous scoring weapons, and a man in Sebastian Thomas that has scored 20 points in both of the games he played against Fordham this season. Again, you expect Thomas to have a much larger second half impact for the Rhode Island Rams, and so you need that offensive intensity maintained on the Fordham side. As the Fordham Rams trying to snap an 8-game losing streak and win this one here in round 1 of the A10 Men's Championship, Fordham has won a tournament game in 3 straight seasons. They are looking to keep that streak alive. It's Fordham in maroon with white text along the chest for Rhode Island. It's white uniforms, light blue text in the front, and navy numbers. Fordham will inbound the ball from the near far side. From the near high side, Jameer Tripp, the trigger man, the starting 5, back out for the Rams. Fordham ahead 49-37, second half underway. The A10 Men's Championship, day 1. Madore bounce pass right wing for Ahmad Dean. Post feed inside for Tripp. Double team goes to a cutting Timbila. Has it stripped away. And it's out of bounds. Last touch by Timbila. An early turnover forced by a Rhode Island team that does not force many turnovers.
Yeah, Brown got sucked into that help defense there. Timbila had a lane in the middle, but as we've seen so often this season, he just can't really control those passes that go into him down low.
Green will roll it into Sebastian Thomas, 3rd team All-A10. After an excellent season, 4th in the A10 in scoring, led the conference in assists and steals. Thomas drives right, kicks for House. House inside, goes for the jam and missed. It bounced out. Stays here with Rhode Island. The 3 by Thomas, no good. And Timbila pulls down the rebound by pinning it to his head.
David Tyree.
Door top of the key. Kicks right wing for Johnson. Johnson harassed by Jamarcus Lawrence with 3 fouls today. Feed down low to Timbila, who banks it in.
2 straight possessions where Brown is wandering on the defensive end. Abdu takes advantage.
David Green open in the corner for 3. He got it. Rhode Island's best 3-point shooter, empty in the first half, gets one to fall right away in the second half. Tripp on the far side, lays it in with the left-hand drive. Pretty move, Chaz.
The Euro step from the American boy.
Here's House the other way, driving, taking contact, and draws the blocking foul. Fordham 53, Rhode Island 40. And the first foul of the second half for the Fordham Rams. 11 in the first half going against Fordham and 9 going against Rhode Island. No one really in foul trouble for Fordham. Jamarcus Lawrence on the Rhode Island side has 3.
A blessing for the Rams, though. That's only Abdu's first foul. usually someone that gets criticized a lot for being in foul trouble. That's huge for the Rams.
House to the line. Rhode Island trailing by 13. Makes his first, and House continues to be the offensive engine for Rhode Island today as Sebastian Thomas's struggles continue.
Trying to come from behind here, Rhode Island. You're going to need to make your free throws down the stretch. They didn't do a great job of that in the first half, just 9 of 14.
House makes both. Conversely, Fordham made 16 of 17 in the first half. That's a 94% clip. Johnson speeds ahead far side. Top of the key for Dean. Dean staring down Medor, now hands it off to his teammate. It's Medor on the right wing. Medor calling for motion with 13 seconds left on the shot clock. Johnson, left wing three, bounces out. Dean gets the offensive rebound. Back out Medor, right wing three. Raises the rim. Johnson offensive rebound, no good, but a tap back in by Dean. Basket no good. I think Johnson was fouled on the floor.
No basket, 2 shots.
Johnson was fouled shooting that first attempt. The putback went in for the Rams, but that won't count.
Good old board, too, from Johnson.
3 offensive rebounds in that sequence, or 2 offensive rebounds, 3 chances for the Rams.
And it's everybody crashing the glass. Jackie Johnson, smallest guy out there almost, and he's getting underneath and getting that board.
Told you guys the offensive rebounds would come back to a median. It was Rhode Island with 5, Fordham with 0. Now it's Fordham with 8, Rhode Island with 7.
Fordham winning the rebound battle 25-17 against a Rhode Island team that ranks top 3 in the conference in rebounding. Johnson misses his second. 54, Fordham 42, Rhode Island a 12-point lead. Thomas swing left Lawrence. Lawrence dribbles right, stops at the free throw line, lob down low for Brown. Brown double teamed underneath the basket, blocked by Timbilla. Stays here with Rhode Island. Brown still has it, kick out into the hands of House, who had to make a contested catch just to get that ball. Drives inside and draws the foul in the paint. And that's going to be Jameer Tripp, called for his third.
Tripp, they're going for the ball. I thought the call was going to be a jump. Had 2 hands on it, but maybe some shoulder-to-shoulder contact that the referees didn't like to see. I will point out Jake Shaw, a referee that Coach Keith Urgo was jawing with last time they faced each other at the Richmond game. Probably the most defeating loss of the Rams season.
Tripp subs out. Rivera checks in. Rhode Island ball underneath the basket. Inbound to Green near side. Here's Fuchs. Hands off for House. House, step back, right wing three, air ball. And Timbila's got it for the rebound. Medor pushes ahead near side. Medor with 19 in the first half alone. It's Johnson on the left wing. Goes straight on Timbila. Timbila dribbling right. His pass deflected, but gets it back. Resets top of the key, Dean. Swings it left for Johnson. Johnson at the foul line. Spins and kicks to the corner for Rivera. Rivera will drive, muscling through, floater no good. Batted back to Rivera, a second chance. Kick out to Medor. Shot clock has reset, 15 left on this possession for the Rams. 17-13 left in the second half. Medor dribbling left, hops into the lane, goes up with the right hand, no good. Timbila went for the jam, and the ball popped way out.
That was going in on the front rim.
Over the cylinder call on Abdi, just too eager there for the putback slam that would have got Fordham's bench going. But you got to be smart in that situation to let the ball find its fate on its own on the rim.
Especially when you get that many possessions and you're just trying and trying and trying. Seeing one go in would have been huge mentally, even more than score-wise. You got to let that one fall, dude.
Lead stuck at 12 for Fordham. 54-42. 16:57 second half. Thomas bounces left wing, House. Straight on Green. House gets it back, moving right. Handoff Thomas moving left. Thomas drives inside. Takes contact, banks it in, no foul.
We're going to see a lot of Thomas getting to the rack and making tough shots down the stretch. That's his bread and butter.
Gentlemen, it's a 10-point game, 54-44. 16:35 second half. Medor deep right wing. He's double teamed. And able to bounce out of it. To Dean straight on, stops at the foul line, kicks to Medor, corner for Rivera. Post feed Timbila on the near side, hops into the paint, left hand float off glass and in. Smooth from the big man.
The way Abdu's moving that double pound to that jump stop, high hook, love to see it from the kid from Cameroon.
Thomas posting up, spins around, leaves it short. Offensive rebound by Fuchs, no good as well. Ball's tipped around, it's secured by Fordham. Two grade A chances for Rhode Island, both empty.
That is a point-blank miss from Fuchs. Could not be closer, no one around him.
Fuchs, he's been so good against the Fordham Rams in his career. Tambila driving down to the block on the far side. His kick out, poked away by Jabunji and intercepted. Jabunji slams it down after the ill-advised feed by Tambila. Lead stays at 10, 56-46. As Rhode Island immediately matches the two from Tambila. And in a sense, Tambila got the two inside and immediately gives it up with turnover.
Zero-sum game.
Johnson, right wing. Moves right off the Tambila screen. Right wing three off right iron. Rebound by Rhode Island. 15-15 second half. Green to the corner for House. Back to Green, left wing. Cross court Thomas. Thomas dribbles straight on. Drives left off the screen. Down inside. Little underhand layup goes off glass.
When in doubt, when you're not shooting well, just get to that left hand in close.
Foul called, going to be on Sebastian Thomas. He was blitzing Medor in the front court. 14:55 first half. Rhode Island has cut this lead to single digits. It's 56-48 Fordham. And we'll take our first break of the second half. Lou Orlando, Chaz McAdams, and Nick Guzman. It's Fordham men's basketball on 90.7 FM.
Hey sports fans, it's Bobby C. I'm the sports director here at WFUV. From live broadcasts of Fordham athletics to coverage of all the professional sports teams in the NYC, we've got everything a sports fan could ask for. Like talking sports? Check out One-on-One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show, as well as our diverse collection of podcasts. If you're a Fordham student interested in joining our program, feel free to shoot me an email, bobbyc@wfuv.org. And as always, thank you to all of our listeners who support us every week. 90.7 FM is the home of WFUV Sports.
Lou Orlando, Chaz McAdams, Nick Guzman, Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports. Rhode Island has cut this lead to single digits 5 minutes into the second half. It's Fordham ahead 56-48 over URI. Well, gentlemen, we've seen a lot of disastrous second halves by the Fordham Rams, and Fordham hoping that they can hold on, survive, and advance in this A10 tournament. It's an 8-game losing streak to go into the A10 tournament. They haven't taken an 8-game losing streak into tournament play since the 2013-2014 season. That year they went 2-14 in conference, but they won their round one matchup against George Mason. Fordham hoping for some of the same here. What do they need to do here in this second half to make sure that they don't blow this lead after having a 12-point lead going into halftime?
Well, that's a good stat to bring up, Lou. But I think when it comes to this Fordham team, and the way I'm looking at it, okay, I'm scared right now. I think we all are scared right now.
Shivering a little bit.
Fordham cannot be. Fordham need to maintain that level head, that composure down the stretch here with 15 minutes to go. Up by 8. Yes, you're up by 22 in the first half. You're not up by 22 anymore. It's going to be a dogfight down the stretch. I think we kind of knew it was going to be that anyway coming in. But for Fordham, you just can't lose sight of what you were doing earlier in this game that was so effective. The ball in the hands of Jaffe Medor and Jackie Johnson, making shots. The shots haven't been falling. Can't let it impact the defensive end, though.
Nick, you once joked that 40 minutes of Fordham basketball, which is a phrase we hear from this coaching staff a lot, might be a myth. They played 20 minutes of complete Fordham basketball in that first half. They had a chance to at least play 35 minutes of Fordham basketball in this one. That would get it done.
35 is good enough for a win, most of the time.
And that's a lot of times when we talk to Coach Urgo, what he's looking for is 30 to 35 minutes of hardcore Fordham basketball, and that will translate to winning. They haven't done that a lot this season. It's in the corner for Ramad Dean. Fordham moving left to right here on offense. Johnson at the top of the key. Positions himself straight on. Spins at the foul line. Kick out to Medor off his fingertips and stolen by Thomas. Ahead to Jabunji, who lays it in. 6-point game.
And that's what can't happen. The turnovers to fast break, easy points the other way. That's what Rhode Island is hunting, trying to get in transition, and that's too easy.
Only 4 turnovers in the first half for Fordham, already 3 here in the first 6 minutes of the second half. It's 56-50 Fordham. 14-25, half number 2. Medor on the right wing. Fakes, steps back, pulls from three. He nails it. 22 points for Jaffe Medor. And that will give the Rams a little more cushion, lead back out to 9. Thomas meandering right, dribble handoff. It's Fuchs straight on. Left wing for House. House dribbles top of the key, drives right lane. Can't get the roll on the layup. Ball trickles out of bounds, last touch by Matt Zona. Rhode Island another chance.
And there seems to be some frustration and confusion on the sidelines. Archie Miller jawing with some of his players. House Green, people are upset. The Rhode Island Rams not used to this kind of outcome against their Bronx counterpart.
Thomas baseline inbound. Jump ball for Green, pulls it down. Sends it over to House right wing. Drives it down, picks up his dribble, kicks corner. It's Jabunji who'll slow it down and get it into the hands of Sebastian Thomas. Zona blitzes Thomas, top of the key. Throws it down low, intercepted by Riley. And Riley fouled immediately by Rhode Island. Interesting to note with Sebastian Thomas, everything he does well. Maybe the one thing he doesn't take care of the ball that well. Sebastian Thomas going to limp over to the Rhode Island bench. He's going to check out for the first time in this game. If he is hurt in any major way, that's a huge loss for URI.
On the ground, writhing in pain for 5 seconds. Now back up, still hobbling though as he sits down on the end of the bench.
Looks like his right leg. So URI without their leading scorer and third-team all-conference selection, Sebastian Thomas. Medor swings right wing Zona, handoff Johnson. Johnson drives, hangs in the lane, and finishes. Foul line floater by Johnson, and he's got 19. 61-50 Fordham, 13 minutes second half. Top of the key for David Fuchs of Rhode Island. Handoff for Lawrence, sends it down low for Fuchs, who slams it down. Great ball movement by Rhode Island on the give and go.
And that pick and roll coverage by Zona is the move you got. If you're going to hard hedge, you got to be able to retreat back, especially with these guards. They're so crafty with their passes.
But fellas, Sebastian Thomas on the bench, and obviously we'll keep our audience informed if he gets back in, but this Rhode Island team, they do not have, and I know they end up getting bounced down to a day one team with a 4-game losing streak prior to that win against Fordham to end the season. Rhode Island does not have arguably the best season they've had under Archie Miller without Sebastian Thomas coming back to this program and leading them in most major offensive categories. That would be a devastating loss for a Rhode Island Rams team that's in a 9-point hole.
He's as important to this Rhode Island team as any player is to their individual team in the Atlantic 10. It's not just the scoring, it's the passing, it's the steals, it's moving in transition. He's such a valuable player. That didn't look good the way he was laying on the floor, writhing in pain, able to get to his feet and hobble over to sit on the end of the bench. But it's going to be really interesting to see in this final 12:55 if Sebastian Thomas can come back into this game, because if not, it's very clearly advantage for him.
Media timeout has been flexed here with 12:55 left in the second half. So we'll send it over to Nathan Rogers in the Bronx for a one-on-one scoreboard update.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Absolute incredible day with college hoops today. The madness is brewing. How about the Arkansas Razorbacks beating the South Carolina Gamecocks in a thriller 72-68? They advance to play Ole Miss in the second round of the SEC bracket. In the American Conference, Charlotte moves on after beating Rice 64-61. And out west, the Wyoming Cowboys are clawing back against the Spartans of San Jose. The score there is 44-51, Spartans holding on with 7 minutes to go. Over in the ACC, the Tar Heels with a commanding lead over the Fighting Irish. They move on to play the fourth-seeded Wake Forest in Charlotte, North Carolina. Also, over in the Big 12, Colorado tipped off shortly ago against West Virginia. The score there is 27-14, West Virginia. Mets also won against the Cardinals 2-0 over in spring training. And with the one-on-one scoreboard, it's Nathan Rogers.
Sebastian Thomas of Rhode Island, their star point guard, injured before the media timeout, is not on the court for the Rhode Island Rams right now. He is sitting on the bench and not getting medical attention. Johnson top of the key. It's Fordham ball on a break. Rams ahead 61-52. 12:40 second half. Rivera straight on. Spins into the lane. Muscles through. Off glass. No good. Tip back by Timbilla. No good. Offensive rebound. Rivera. Third chance goes. Fordham relentless inside.
Straight fight. Just straight dog from Josh Rivera to get his rebound twice and go back up with it.
Senior guard Jaden House has it stripped away by Johnson. And Fordham gets the steal they were looking for. 12-10 second half. Medor slowly controls at half court. It's the Rams up by 11. Medor dribbles left. Steps back on the left wing. Kicks corner for Rivera. Pulls from three. No good. Too strong. And the rebound by Jamarcus Lawrence. Rhode Island trying to get this lead back to single digits. Lawrence up top. Swung right. David Green. Left hand three. No good. And a Timbilla rebound. Just the second three attempted from David Green.
Also, those 4 fouls from Sebastian Thomas, another key factor with him being on the bench.
And so, Rhode Island's leading scorer not just banged up, in foul trouble, and the next one would leave him out for the rest of the game. Top of the key three for Rivera. Got it! Fordham ahead, 66-52. 11:20 second half, and Rivera burying the three. Fuchs has an open three. He'll pull and answers. Came in today with 3 on the season. He's got 2 today.
All of a sudden, the shots falling for both sides from beyond the arc. Josh Rivera, a contested three. They're letting Fuchs have that shot from the top of the key, and he's proved he can make it twice.
This is March. I love what I'm seeing out there from both squads.
Medor driving on the right side. Cut off. Steps back from the corner. Airball the three. Fordham still ahead 66-55. 10:48 second half. Rhode Island pushing with tempo. House on the right wing, drives, kicks to the corner for Lawrence. Lawrence takes it in, contested 2, left short. Riley the rebound, Fordham ball. Rams moving left to right. 10:30 left in half number 2. Fordham looking to upset number 10 Rhode Island and advance to the second round of the A10 championship. Johnson drives, drew contact at the foul line. He's going to the foul line himself for 2.
Jackie Johnson trying to draw in, draw through. That last blown possession by the Rhode Island Rams came on the part of a house drive directly running into Fuchs, his supposed screener. That's how that turnover happened. The Rhodey Rams need more communication on the floor.
And it seems a little bit like this Rhode Island team doesn't know what to do on offense when Sebastian Thomas isn't at command. And I think whether it's the 4 fouls or the hamstring injury, it's going to be tough with him on the bench if Rhode Island want to come back in this game. With House running the offense up top, it just doesn't quite look as smooth.
And it's another game where it feels like the bigs for Rhode Island have not been allowed by Fordham to have a big impact on this game. I look at the 7-foot center Javante Brown, who's been relatively quiet today. 1 point in just 8 minutes played as Rhode Island's gone with a smaller lineup, a lineup that can shoot threes down by 10. But even David Green, who enters play with a 42.7% three-point percentage, that's the best on Rhode Island. He's only taken 2 threes today. It feels like he hasn't been allowed to be a big part of the offense as well.
He hasn't been open on the perimeter, and that's credit to Fordham in their scouting report, knowing who to close out on, knowing that you have to really be aggressive on David Green because he will shoot those open looks if he is open, and he just hasn't had many of those opportunities. I think when it comes to Brown, the other big, playing just 8 minutes, it seems like anytime he's gotten the ball down low, when he's been on the court, Fordham have double-teamed, or they've been really active with their hands, making things difficult for him down low when he has possession of the ball, and he's looked really uncomfortable with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, Green only taking 2 threes is an anomaly for the Rhode Island Rams. And then also, House, 0 for 7 from inside the arc. He hasn't made a shot since those 3 threes in the beginning of the first half. There seems to be said that, again, in Sebastian Thomas, 4 for 12 from the field. This Rhodey Rams team is looking inefficient. They are shooting 50% from beyond the arc, though.
I mean, it's tough. You go up against a Fordham team that put up 49 points in the first half, and that's not exactly on the scouting report. It's funny, we talked to head coach Keith Ergo about that 19-point loss against Rhode Island on Saturday, and he went, well, we don't expect Cam Estevez to hit 4 threes. We don't expect, them to have the three-point shooting day that they had on Saturday. Rhode Island did not expect Fordham to come out here and put up 49 points in the first half. That's really thrown this game out of whack on the Rhode Island side.
I'm still not over those 2 Fuchs threes. That was insane.
And that's, it's interesting. Rhode Island does not shoot threes at a high rate in terms of just quantity. They hit at a pretty high clip, 35%. That's 4th in the conference, so they have the ability to hit. You just wonder if that clip stays at that same rate, the more threes they chuck up.
I think it's for Rhode Island. It's because they play so fast and often in transition. They don't shoot the three that much. Pretty effective when they do, but I think it's going to be an important factor coming down the stretch here. Rhode Island want to chip into this double-digit lead is the three-point shooting.
Johnson makes his first free throw. He's got 20 points on the day, so Medor and Johnson, 20 points, still with 10 minutes left in half number 2. Johnson's second rolls out. Fordham's only missed 2 free throws today. Both of them have come from their leading scorer on the season, Jackie Johnson. Fordham, some pressure in the front court. Rhode Island able to break. It's Estevez right wing, corner for Jabunji. Jabunji drives, paint floater, rolls in. Couple hops off the rim and in.
Sebastian Thomas is going to stay on the bench. Guys like Jabunji are going to play more, and they're going to have to contribute for Rhodey down the stretch.
67-57, 10-point game, final 10 minutes, a half number 2. Zona left wing, paint lob for Tripp. Had it poked away by Estevez. And they get Estevez for the reach-in foul. He's frustrated. I'm not sure I saw it on that either.
No, I think I saw it on the catch. So you're looking at 2 hands. Tripp doing a great job on the seal. Zona, a great job finding him over the front.
Get a 15 foul against Rhode Island with 9:40 left in the second half. It's Johnson at the A10 logo at half court. Pulls the deep 3, and it rolls out. Swatted by Zona out of bounds. Johnson's hit a couple really deep 3s today. He's also taken a few deep ones that have not rolled in.
And Jackie gives, Jackie taketh away. That's kind of what's been like this whole season for the Rams.
The mantra you have to live by. Estevez pass intercepted by Zona, but momentum takes him out of bounds, and it stays here with Rhode Island.
So you love to see, though, your big men diving on the floor like that. Zona, a guy not known for his defense, putting in all the effort. He's probably the highest effort player on this Ram squad.
Rebound into Estevez, across to Lawrence. Estevez and Lawrence play catch. It's the corner for Jumanji. Jabunji, corner 3, no good. Foul on the floor, going to be going against Rhode Island.
Fordham in the 3-2 zone look on that one. Rhode Island going to potentially have some open shooters if Fordham stick with that look. Got to watch out for the backdoor cutters as well. That's what Rhode Island, how they tore that zone apart on Saturday.
And all momentum on the side of the team from the Bronx, but it is just a 10-point lead. Nothing close to the 22-point balloon that we saw earlier in this game.
Javante Brown, his 3rd foul, and URI in danger of putting Fordham in the bonus with their 6th-team foul. Dribble handoff Medor, stops at the foul line. Kicks out Dean left wing. Dean stumbles, has it at the corner, stripped away. And the foul on the floor. I believe that's going against Jaden House.
Yes.
And that should put Dean at the line. A little bit of confusion. Looked like Dean took a hit there in the corner.
Yeah, so definitely Dean keeping it on that fake dribble handoff, able to go jump stop in the corner, going to pass back out to Johnson from the corner to the wing, and then House just his hands all over Dean, and that is going to be the foul.
Fordham will be in the bonus for the remainder of this game. 8:52 here in the second half. A 10-point lead for the Rams. Live free throw, Dean buries. Fordham ahead 68-57 with one more coming. Fordham going to get a sub here. It's Abdu Timbila to take out Matt Zona.
Still just the 1 foul for Abdu. He's played 18 minutes. Typically a guy who's usually in foul trouble and that can mess up Fordham's rotations. But you're going to see a lot of Abdu down the stretch here.
And that's something I love to see.
Ramad Dean perfect at the line. Fordham a 12-point lead, 69-57, 8:50 second half. Rhode Island still without their point guard Sebastian Thomas. 4 fouls, nursing what appears to be a right hamstring injury. Lawrence swings left House. Straight on Estevez. Right wing feed to Lawrence, gives it back to Estevez. Paint feed for Jabunji is whistled dead. Foul off ball looked like maybe some contact from Jameer Tripp.
Yeah, on Tripp, and that's going to be his fourth tough one for the young kid out of Brooklyn. But yeah, Tripp on that backdoor cut, trying to prevent a little jersey grab there. That's going to be a clear foul.
Jameer Tripp getting the start, the A10 tournament game. After turning it on down the stretch of the regular season, it's Rhode Island ball. Inbounded to the 7-foot Javonte Brown. Backs it out, hands off to House, top of the key. House dribble, handoff Lawrence. 10 on the shot clock, 8:30 on the game. Lawrence, his pass deflected and intercepted by Johnson. 3-on-2 for Fordham. No-look feed to Medor, lays it in. Oh, beautiful ball movement by the two Fordham guards. Lawrence moving quickly, drives, left hand finish is good. Rhode Island able to answer the finish. And now Johnson's pass intercepted by Jabunji.
Not necessary.
Jabunji drives inside, hangs, no good, gets his own miss. I think the first one he drew the foul.
Yes, on that first one, but there's just no reason for Johnson to try to speed the game up like that. You know what you're trying to do. You're trying to slow it down and make Rhode Island play in the half court. Why are you feeding into their game, trying to go back and forth, run 94 feet? Play at your pace.
And you know Jackie was feeling it after that beautiful feed to Medor for the layup on the last possession, trying to stretch the floor again, but after you get the layup from Medor and Rhode Island makes on the other end, settle things down. You're up by 12, slow it down, and really take your time on offense.
Fordham 71, Rhode Island 59. Final 8 minutes here from Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Fordham looking to advance to round 2. We'll be back in a moment. Fordham men's basketball on 90.7 FM.
Hi, this is Mike Breen, WFUV class of 1983. WFUV is the flagship station of Fordham Athletics with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to Saturday one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
Orlando, Chaz McAdams, Nick Guzman, and Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports. Well, the final 2 games of the regular season for Jackie Johnson, a little interesting. Career high 7 turnovers against GW, then had 6 in the game finale, the regular season finale against Rhode Island. That's 13 in 2 games. He's been much better today, but makes his 3rd turnover of the game right before the under 8 media timeout. Fordham's going to need to take care of the ball down the stretch. They've got 9 turnovers on the game right now. This coaching staff has preached to keep that number under 10 and will have success. That's got to be one of the keys in the final 8 minutes here when you're up 12.
100%, especially considering when Jackie turns the ball over, a lot of the times it's up high, and so he's trying to make a tough play, and those passes get intercepted. It's a fast break the other way, as we just saw for Rhode Island. If you're trying to limit easy buckets for a team that's down by 12, it starts by taking care of the basketball on the offensive end, and that starts with Jackie Johnson.
The senior from France, Quentin Jabunji, to the line, makes his first. Not a chance to cut this lead to 10, but 7:59 to go. Second coming from Jabunji is good, nothing but net, and that's the 4th Rhode Island Ram in double figures on the day. 71-61, 7:55 left to go here from Capital One Arena. Door straight on, bounces Dean left wing. Hand off Johnson. Johnson straight on, face guarded by Lawrence. Johnson hesitates and backs it out. 10 on the shot clock, picks up the dribble. Johnson gets the handoff back from Timbila, still straight on. Dribble drive, pulls from deep mid-range and got it. Contested, but berries.
2 sets of hands directly in his face from the top of the key. That is such a tough shot to hit for Jackie Johnson.
Sebastian Thomas back in for Rhode Island. Jabunji drives, takes contact, going back to the line. Hard-nosed basketball from Rhode Island in this second half as they're trying to claw back from a 12-point deficit at half. And how about Quentin Jabunji getting back to the line?
He's going to be needed in this game. 10 points already just because of Thomas coming off the court for that period. Now he's back on. But Jabunji, showing why he's getting these minutes down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, and if they keep rewarding those Jabunji fast breaks with fouls, he's going to take it.
Sebastian Thomas check out earlier with an apparent right hamstring injury. Also has 4 fouls on the day.
That's important. Yeah.
But Rhode Island's leading scorer and the A10's leading assist man back in the game. Jabunji goes 1 for 2.
There's also 3 other Rhode Island Rams in foul trouble with 3 fouls to their names.
73-62 Fordham, 7:15 in the game. Medor left arc. Resets up top for Zona. Dribble handoff Johnson. Johnson feed inside for Rivera. Muscling in. Wild shot off the backboard. No good. Ball tapped back out to Johnson. Second chance for the Rams. Johnson drives inside. Misses the right hand layup. Had a good look. Thomas curling straight on. Drops it back for Jabunji. The drop down low for Javante Brown. Mishandled and turned over. Just dropped the ball. Medor lob. Missed layup by Josh Rivera on the alley-oop layup attempt. It's House straight on. Drives, takes contact, misses the floater going to the line. And you get the sense the chaos really ramping up here as both sides trying to work quickly, and it's not really working out in terms of effectiveness.
Rhode Island are desperate, and Fordham aren't very good at closing out games at the end. So put that combination together, you get kind of the helter-skelter that we've seen over the last couple minutes. That last turnover from Brown underneath, we mentioned earlier, he's looked uncomfortable with the ball in his hands down low, and he's going to check out now. Yeah. I think if you're Archie Miller, you can't afford to have somebody on the court like
especially
that.
With that last time out for Fuchs versus the Rams. You got to trust him in this matchup. That a lob attempt from Medor to Josh Rivera. Undercut there by Estevez, no call. Coach Keith Urgo beside himself.
House misses the second free throw. Lead stays at 10. 73-63 after House goes 1 of 2 from the line. Ball batted out of bounds. Last touched by Rhode Island. A little bit disagreement
on the part of the referees.
Referee on the far side saying Rhode Island ball. Referee on the near side says Fordham ball. And the near side ref appears to have won that argument.
Well, it's the close one, and he's the one that jaws with Urgo. So you know you got to be objective there.
6:25 left to go in round 1 of the A10 Men's Championship. Fordham looking to advance to round 2 in Keith Urgo's homelands of Washington, D.C. Dean swings left for Medor. Medor straight on feed Zona. Swings right Rivera. Open right wing 3. Bounces out. High hop off the rim. Secured by Jaden House. Lawrence slow to get back. It's 4-on-5 for Rhode Island. House drives and draws the foul once again. And now it seems like the shoe's on the other foot. Rhode Island driving to the rim with ease and drawing contact on seemingly every possession.
Contact. You're right. Every single time there has been contact. Whether it gets called or not is up to the officials. But Fordham has to clean it up defensively if they want to keep this lead. There's so much time left in this game for Rhode Island to come back.
That's the 7th foul going against Fordham, so both teams in the bonus for the final 5:56 of this A10 round 1 game. House misses another one.
Those missed free throws are going to come back and haunt them. They're haunting them right now. They're not going to come back and haunt them. They're haunting them actively. 15 of 23 from the line.
And a Rams team all too familiar with that, losing games based on missed free throws.
House makes the second, but Nick, to your point, it's a 9-point game and Rhode Island's missed 8 free throws. 73-64. 5:50 left here from D.C. Medor hands off Johnson. Johnson moving left. Straight on Rivera. Foul line feed to Dean. Jab and a spin into the lane. Pivoting his way through. Hard shot off the glass. No good. Drew the foul.
excellent footwork from Romad Dean, able to keep his pivot, pound dribble, spin off, up fake, get Fuchs in the air, draw contact, try to lay it in off the glass. That was beautiful basketball. That's a pro move.
Chaz, there's only 3 Fordham players in double figures. Obviously, Medora and Johnson. The third is Dean with 10.
And it's been such a quiet, stretch run down this season for Romad Dean on offense. The three-point shooting's dried up. We haven't seen moves like that down low really at all this season as he misses the first free throw.
Fordham misses a free throw. They have been so good in the first half. They've now missed 3 in the second half.
And he missed his first free throw of the game as well. Dean 7 for 7 from the line before this trip. Only 2 field goal attempts, but he's got 10 points.
Second from Dean is good. Lead back out to double figures, 74-64, 5:35 left to play. It's Thomas on the right wing, handoff Lawrence. Straight on for David Fuchs. Thomas dribbling left, handoff to House moving right, drives inside, and draws the foul on the right wing drive. Again, another possession, another trip to the line for Rhode Island.
And we're going to be fouls on fouls at this point. Double bonus in sight for both squads. There's definitely more of it's closer for the Rhode Island Rams, and there is a sense from this Coach Keith Ergo squad that so far this game they're hitting free throws at a pretty efficient clip.
And the feeling of this game is odd, guys, as House makes his first free throw. Fordham just had a 10-point lead, now it's down to 9, but they have a somewhat comfortable lead. This lead does not feel comfortable at all, standing here on the scores team.
And it's been within like 8 to 12 pretty much this entire second half, but it feels like in any second this run could shift, and it starts with Rhode Island making their free throws at the line.
House makes both. It's an 8-point game, 74-66. 5:23 left to play. As Medora will take it up. Rhode Island not really pressuring in the backcourt just yet. Dean hands off Rivera on the left wing. Paint feed for Zona. Keeps it in. Kicks to the corner for Dean. His three. It's good. What a shot from Ahmad Dean. What a play by Zona to keep that one alive.
Unbelievable play from Matt Zona to find Dean in the corner.
Cross court for Traore. He'll pull the open three and air balls. Rebound by Fuchs. Stays here with House. His three rolls out. Another rebound for Fuchs. And the foul on the floor. Jaffe Medora in the territory right by David Fuchs, and he's the one that gets called for the foul. His second.
Only his second of the game, Orlando. Jaffe Medora, normally cool, calm, and collected. That Matt Zona pass.
To keep his feet in bounds on the baseline.
So Josh Rivera overthrow. He's like Aaron Rodgers with the overthrow there. And a grab from Zona. Tiptoeing ballerina, Antonio Brown footwork to keep it in bounds, tosses out to Dean on the wing, who cans an absolute monster of a three. His second 2-3 game in the last 10.
Dean's three gives Fordham 77 points. Jabunji to the line for the second. Takes 1 of 2 at the line. It's a 10-point game.
And you'll take 1 out of 2 from Rhode Island any day down the stretch. Fordham can keep fouling if Rhodey's going to keep going 1 for 2 from the line.
4:40 left from Capital One. Top of the key, Zona fakes the handoff to Rivera. Sends it back to Johnson. Johnson left wing. Pulls from 3. Got it! 25 for Johnson. And Fordham a 13-point lead. 80-67. 4.5 to go.
Huge to stretch this thing back out to 13.
Errant pass by Lawrence into the hands of Dean, and Fordham wisely will slow things down. No need to rush here up 13. Medora at half court, face guarded by Jamarcus Lawrence. Medora out to Rivera, right wing. Rivera drives into the lane, stops in the paint, floater's good off glass. That's strong shooting from the junior Josh Rivera, and a 15-point lead for Fordham in the final 4 minutes. Bounce down low to Jabunji, misses inside. Offensive rebound stays here with Rhode Island. It's Jabunji again, curling out, hands off House. Left wing 3, knocked to the floor, didn't get the shot to go. It's a foul on the floor going against Fordham.
And the Rams again fouling on a rebound. Those are going to stack up. You can't rely on Rhode Island to miss these free throws every time they go to the line.
At this point, you can a little bit. Up by 15 with 3.5 minutes to go. They're not scoring in bunches. It's been really stagnant on offense for Rhode Island. As long as there's no fluidity coming, I think continue being aggressive on defense and maybe see if they can make them.
No field goals by Rhode Island the last 4.5 minutes. A push by Fordham has the lead up to 15 with 3:36 left to go. One last time, back to the Bronx. Let's hear from Nathan Rogers.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
With the last update of the day, we're going to stick with college basketball on this beautiful mid-March Wednesday. Northwestern tipped off shortly ago against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The score in the Big Ten bracket is 15-12 Northwestern with 10 minutes left in the first half. Also, over in the Big 12, Colorado tipped off earlier today against West Virginia. The score there is 29-23 West Virginia at halftime. Going coast to coast, out west, the San Jose Spartans hold off Wyoming 66-61 as they move on to play number 1 seeded New Mexico in the second round of the Mountain West Tourney. In the ACC, the Tar Heels with a commanding lead over the Fighting Irish 53-34. Fifth seeded North Carolina is eyeing a second round advancement to play Wake Forest. For our baseball fans on 90.7, our own Fordham Rams are currently playing Navy here in the Bronx. The score there is 3-0. Navy in the lead in the top of the third. It's spring training in the MLB, and the Atlanta Braves are playing the Orioles as they lead 13-4 in the top of the ninth. Tonight, some important games with the SF Giants playing the Guardians. First pitch at 4:05. That's going to do it for updates today before we send it back to the nation's capital for the Fordham men's basketball game. With the one-on-one scoreboard, it's Nathan Rogers.
Well, just when you think you have this whole college basketball thing figured out, the 15-seeded Fordham Rams, who lost 8 straight games going into the tournament, looked lifeless their last 2 games of the regular season, have a 15-point lead over Rhode Island with 3:36 to go. A chance to advance to the second round of the A10 tournament. And how about a chance to do it in Keith Ergo's hometown? A Washington, D.C. native, went to high school at Gonzaga College High School, took the team to practice there yesterday. They had a chance to do it in his old stomping grounds.
You mentioned how this Fordham team looked lifeless down the stretch, Lou. I would say lifeless is an understatement. They looked dead and buried in those last 2 games this season against GW and this same Rhode Island team. For them to come out and put this kind of performance, yes, they have 82 points on the board. For me, another missed free throw for Rhodey for Traore. The defensive intensity. Nothing has been easy for Rhode Island. Even the fouls, they're getting to the free throw line, but nothing easy. And that's what we haven't seen at all from this Fordham defense this season.
Traore goes 1 for 2, makes it a 14-point lead for the Fordham Rams. 82-68, 3:36 to go, and Rhode Island no choice but to go to the full court press here as they need scoring. They need scoring in bunches. Rivera will run the baseline into Medor on the near side. Medor sprinting ahead over to Johnson left wing, and Johnson will back it out. Back into the hands of Medor along the far sideline. Medor dribbles right, hands off Rivera right wing. And a foul. Off ball, it appears, on number 24, David Fuchs.
And Fuchs saying he grabbed me. Refs didn't see that, so the foul's going to go against Fuchs. It was him and Zona jockeying. That's the word, Chaz.
There we go.
Jockeying for position down low in the paint. So free throws coming for Zona.
Free throws for Zona here, and Matt Zona, a reliable free throw shooter for the Fordham Rams. Again, from Rockland County. He's a local guy, wanting to come home, spend more time with his family, and has been such a key piece of this Fordham squad.
Zona misses the first. It's a live ball, and House pulls down the rebound. 3:15 to go. Rhode Island down 14. David Green in the far corner. Drives inside, picks up the dribble, finds a cunning Thomas underneath the basket. Kick out to Jabunji. Kick out House, open left wing 3. No good. Rebound by Fordham was deflected, but gets to Medor.
And they're trying so hard to get inside and get an easy look at the rim. There's just nothing there. This Fordham defense in all the right spots defensively. So refreshing to see after what we've experienced for pretty much all this season.
Final 3 minutes. It's Fordham ball at 14. Rivera on left wing. Down to the corner. Picks up his dribble. He's double teamed. Kick out Zona. Open left wing 3. 2 bounces off the front of the rim and no good. David Green, the rebound, lead stays put. 2:25 to go. Green back to Thomas. Thomas drives inside. Splits 2 defenders. Picks up the dribble. Paint feed for Fuchs, goes off his knee, stays with Rhode Island. Drive inside by House, foul on the way. Shot won't fall. House going to the line for 2 free throws.
Almost no field goals for this Rhode Island team in almost 6 minutes. In the last 5:55, no field goals. Yes, they've been getting the free throw line, but that is so impressive for this Fordham defense to not allow a field goal in 6 minutes down the stretch of an Atlantic 10 tournament game.
And you talked about nothing easy. Fordham bringing out new warm-ups for today. Nothing easy with that Nike and that Block F logo. This Fordham team knew that Rhode Island likes to get easy, play fancy basketball. They wanted to show what Bronx basketball means. It's grit, it's grind, it's tough, it's physical, and it's Fordham. This is the basketball that Coach Keith Ergo has been wanting out of his players since October.
And it's the basketball that has eluded this team for so much of this season. A 3-15 record in conference, dead last in the A10. House makes both. It's 82-70. Long feed ahead to Medor on the full court inbound. And Medor will curl out and kill time.
Fordham being smart here, up double digits, don't need to force anything.
Final 2 minutes from Capital One. Fordham up by 12. Johnson kicks corner for Rivera. Wide open for 3. Too strong. That ball out of bounds. Last touch by Matt Zona. And it's going to be Rhode Island ball. They called a foul on Zona over the back. That's interesting.
Joking. That is the same ref that tried to call the other dead ball when there's the ref disagreement. Rhode Island basketball. Just to inform the viewers. Capital J journalism over here.
That's the 9th foul going against Fordham. So 1 away from putting Rhode Island in the double bonus. Rhode Island with 1:54. Still a chance in this one, down 12, down 82-70. They need to get points. They need to get points in bunches. David Green at the line makes his first.
You don't want to point fingers as to why Rhode Island are in this position, but David Green's a guy they've relied on so heavily this season. At almost 15 points per game, he shoots the 3 so well, and he's pretty much been a non-factor in these last 2 games against Fordham.
1 of 2 at the line. Fordham, the rebound and full possession. Long pass ahead from Zona. Johnson out to run, lays it in left hand. Fordham up 84-71. And whistles. Timeout. Fordham going to call a timeout with 1:41. And Nick, you were just saying David Green has disappointed today, the 6'7" senior that's been such a big part of Rhode Island's success, their leading scorer last year prior to Sebastian Thomas transferring in this season. And it feels like another game where he has been a non-factor and then misses that free throw that leads directly to points for the Rams.
Especially with Thomas going down with that injury, the 4 fouls, they've had to be strategic about his usage here in the second half. Even when he was playing in the first, wasn't particularly efficient. You need the other guys on this Rhode Island team to step up. It starts with a guy like David Green, Jamarcus Lawrence, these guys that have been the secondary scorers all year long. But this afternoon against Fordham, the Rams have done so well at limiting the open looks, number 1, forcing the contested shots when Rhode Island have driven into the lane, and then fighting for those loose balls and rebounds to end the possessions where they are.
And that Zona find was unreal. Up ahead, getting it over the defense. QB1, he's a Giants fan. I know we channeled his inner Eli Manning there. Over the defense, right to Johnson for the easy 2. And now Fordham up 13.
1:41, Rhode Island ahead. Fordham ahead 84-71. Rhode Island in a 13-point hole. Ball rolling to Thomas, takes it past half court. Thomas speeds ahead, can't lay it in with the left hand. The tap by Traore misses as well. Again, 2 grade A chances for Rhode Island, nothing doing.
This field goal drought just gets worse and worse and worse. We're at 6.5 minutes, no field goals for Rhode Island.
And that's a great way to put a hand up there by Zach Riley.
Medor killing time. How about this, guys? A 15 seed has never won a game in the A10 tournament. Fordham a chance. Up big, 84-71, final minute 10. Mid-range from Johnson, got it. They're up 15 with 1:05 to go. Thomas left wing, sprints down, back to the basket. Kicks out Jabunji. Jabunji left wing 3. Off left iron, rebound by Dean.
There's a lid on the basket. 7 minutes, no field goals for this Fordham defense down the stretch. That is so unbelievably impressive.
A Fordham team not known for their defense at all. A Keith Ergo coaching staff known for wanting defensive excellence. The Fordham Rams are finally playing Fordham basketball in the nation's capital when it counts most.
Medor taking contact along the near side. That's going to be a foul. With Fordham in the bonus, that's free throws coming up. Well, how has Fordham done it? 86 points in this one. 29 from their leading scorer, Jackie Johnson. 24 from Medor, who goes to the line.
Wall and Beal.
And the team that lost 8 straight games going into tournament play is poised to advance to round 2. Winner of this game would play GW at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Medor's first is good, make it 25 for the senior.
Talk about a revenge tour to end the season. Rhode Island blow you out to end your regular season. You get your revenge this afternoon in D.C. Tomorrow, GW, who you lost your home finale in really embarrassing fashion at the Rose Hill Gym a few weeks ago. You get another chance tomorrow to attack them.
It's a perfect trip for Medor.
And if we want to talk about narratives, Coach Archie Miller now with 3 disappointing A10 seasons.
88-71, Fordham ahead. Final 30 seconds. Houses 3, no good. Dean pulls down the rebound, falls to the floor, and calls for the travel. So Rhode Island, another chance, but with 19.3 seconds left, they've been dealt a gut punch here as the 10 seed, the highest seed playing in day 1. Wow. They've been dealt a first-round exit.
Unbelievable to go almost 8 minutes scoreless here. Not scoreless, but no field goals down the stretch, and they miss there again.
Green drives inside, leaves it short. Timbila the rebound, and Rhode Island won't foul. Welcome to March. Fordham, the 15 seed. 8 straight losses going into the tournament. Blown out by Rhode Island 4 days ago. They beat Rhode Island 88-71. The first 15 seed in A10 history to advance past round 1. How about that? The Fordham Rams moving on to round 2.
And being a part of history from this sideline in the nation's capital, nothing feels more sweeter. But I know Coach Keith Ergo, the second he steps out of that locker room, is going to say the work just started. We not only saw Fordham get blown out by Rhode Island, but the game before, their last game in the Rose Hill Gym, the GW Revolutionaries blew them out, and it's going to be a home game for them. The work just started, but the Fordham Rams shocking the world with a fantastic win in day 1 of the Atlantic 10 tournament.
I mean, this team was dead and buried on Saturday. Literally dead and buried after the blowout against this same Rhode Island team. To come out and have that kind of performance in D.C. this afternoon, first ever 15 seed to advance, to hold a team like Rhode Island to 8 minutes and 9 seconds, no field goals down the stretch. That is so impressive, and just props to this Fordham team.
We're joined by assistant coach Raul Ramon. Coach, it starts with that first half, 49 points. That's the most points you've put up in a first half against a D1 foe, and then you carried out in the second half. What went well in this win?
First of all, we know Rhode Island is a great team. They came out and played, competed. They had a great season. You know, they did a great job on that end. I think for us, it was all defense. You know, we came in with the mentality of playing defense, making sure we're there for each other. And offensively, it just started flowing. We started moving the ball. We got into the paint. We got to the points that we talked about. We switched some of the things that we did in the previous games. We were able to get some of those things to just being able to play within each other, play within the game. But I think the defense is what got us to the point today.
Speaking of that defense, Coach, what does it mean to you as a staff that for the last 8 minutes and 9 seconds of that game, Rhode Island didn't make a field goal? There are guys like Zach Riley and moves made by guys like Jaffe Medor that don't get a lot of highlights. Can you just speak to what that means to you and your staff?
I think it's mostly the players, man. They go out and play. We can only give them the opportunity to go on the floor. But the way they played together, the way they connected today, it shows a lot about how much they want it.
Coach, what does it say about the resiliency of this group? I mean, Saturday in Kingston, you guys were blown out by this same Rhode Island team. To come back and face them again just a couple days later and punch them in the mouth the way you did, what does that say about this group?
Like I said, man, I think it's just being together, knowing that you're playing for each other, going out there and competing every single moment and just trusting each other.
Assistant Coach Ron Ramon, congrats on the win.
Thank you.
On to round 2.
Thanks, Coach.
Fordham 88, Rhode Island 71, and gentlemen, that is a stunning effort by a Fordham Rams team that you both have said it. The way this regular season ended, I think a lot of people expected this to be a quick trip down to Washington, D.C. Instead, it's head coach Keith Ergo getting a win in the A10 tournament in his hometown, Washington, D.C., and they're on to round 2.
I hope you guys packed enough shirts because it's not going to be a one-and-done trip. We're here tomorrow against GW. The effort from this Fordham team is something we haven't seen at a performance like this all season long, for it all to come together. The defensive intensity, looking smooth and fluid on offense, tough shot making from Jackie Johnson and Jaffe Medor. It all came together. We've been talking about, I said on this broadcast a couple weeks ago, 40 minutes of Fordham basketball might be a myth. That wasn't 40, but it was damn close.
Damn close. And the fact that the Fordham Rams, the only people that believe in that program going into that game, are on the bus, are in that locker room. There was no national attention of any sense of a comeback. Even though the Rams were able to get it done versus Rhode Island in their first matchup, I can't imagine what the electricity in that locker room feels like. And if I'm GW, I know that this is not the same Rams team that I was able to face last week.
Well, they're led by their senior guards, Jackie Johnson, 29 points in his first A10 tournament game since his freshman year with Duquesne. Ironically enough, that one also against URI. And how about Jaffe Medor, 26 points. Those have been the two top scorers on this team all season long, and they showed up when it really mattered.
And they're the experienced guys on this team. They're the leaders, those two guards, Jackie and Jaffe. And down the stretch, the efficiency this season for Jaffe really dipped. And I think it's a big reason why Fordham looked so lackluster in those last few regular season games. But he was moving quick, he was moving efficient, he was getting the free throw line, making his free throws. And Jackie was just a tough shot-making machine out there this afternoon. Such a big reason why Fordham came out on top.
Final score from Capital One Arena. The number 15 seed Fordham Rams 88, the 10 seed Rhode Island Rams 71. Fordham wins the third battle of the Rams this season. They win the most important one. 88-71 is the win. It's the first win by a 15 seed in the A10 tournament in A10 history. We'll be right back tomorrow, 5 p.m. against number 7 GW. For my partners Nick Guzman and Chaz McAdams, I'm Lou Orlando. Send it back to the Bronx, Owen Kelty and Nathan Rogers.
The one-on-one post-game report.
Welcome into the Rose Hill Studios for our one-on-one post-game report. Once again, I'm Owen Kelty and joined by Nathan Rogers. Fordham shocks the A10 with the upset of the Rhode Island Rams. They win this one 88-71. Coming off 8 straight losses, finishing last in the A10, going 3-15 in the conference. They come out and get the win in the first round. They are the first 15 seed to ever get a win in round 1. Thank you, Orlando, for that stat. But Nathan, what a game, what a win. And Chaz said it best. A lot of people did not see a win coming into this one, coming off that bad loss Saturday, the loss against GW last week. They looked dead in the water. The effort wasn't there, and they come out in this one, we talked about it in the first half, firing on all cylinders, offense, defense. They looked great in the first half, besides a couple of minutes, but they played a complete full game, and I think this might have been the best game they played all season.
I agree, and hats off to the team in maroon led by Keith Ergo. I mean, the resilience coming back, as you said, from that blowout loss on Saturday. I like to point out that the Fordham Rams have won 4 Atlantic 10 tournament openers in a row. So for a last seed team to get over the hump in the first round, they're going to face number 7 seeded George Washington, who they've seen last week as well. They're going to face them tomorrow at 5 p.m. in the nation's capital. But overall, just offensive dominance. How about Medor with a season-high 26 there? Also, Ramad Dean, second highest points all season and highest since the 29th of January. Just
stepped up big time.
Exactly. Just overall swinging the rock, also beyond the arc, just hitting. And also holding URI, the number 1 ranked offense in the A10, to 30% from the field in the second half. Just great on both sides of the ball, and their confidence just comes from Ergo, and his sideline presence was there today in the nation's capital, and it was just amazing to see the Fordham Rams get a win.
This was a completely different team than what we've seen these past 8 games, even before that, with the losing streak before that. This feels like a completely different team than what we've seen all year. Maybe it was how hot they got on the offense. You mentioned Jaffe Medor, 26 points on really good shooting, 11-11 from the free throw line. Jackie Johnson, 29 points. That's been the dynamic duo all year for this Fordham team. But You mentioned Ramad Dean stepping up big time with 14 points, especially in a game where Jameer Tripp, only 2 points. For Josh Rivera, who had a big game versus Rhode Island in that first win, only 11 points today. But other guys stepped up big time. Even a lot of the guys who came off the bench might not have scored. The biggest thing in this game was the defensive effort. You haven't seen that a lot this year, where Ergo's been preaching how important defense is. We know they can score. We know a lot of these guys can get buckets, but we haven't seen them be able to get stops consistently. And today, their defense is what won them the game. I know you give up 71 points, which is a lot. Loses you a lot of games sometimes, 71 points, but Rhode Island had a lot of momentum going to that half. Then they kind of had momentum coming out of the half, got a little close there. But in the final 8:09 of this game, Rhode Island had 0 field goals. They shot 1 of 12 to finish the game. Fordham finishes the game shooting 5 of 7. Just want to talk about their defense at the end of the game. It was incredible. Holding a team to no field goals in 8 minutes is really unheard of a lot of times in basketball.
Definitely. Yeah, Ergo talked about playing at their own pace, and the Fordham Rams did that against URI today, holding Sebastian Thomas to 4 points in the second half. I mean, hats off to the team in maroon there. He had a little injury, went out there, but still, Sebastian Thomas only 10 points in total, shooting 4 of 13 from the field. Overall, just great on the defensive side of the ball. The bigs were scrambling down under the glass and protecting under the boards. It was just great to see overall the team defensive effort. I think the mental attitude was they wanted to win and they were going to go out and do anything possible. As you said, it could have been the last 40 minutes of basketball for a lot of these guys, and they played like it. So great to see offense and also the defensive side getting those important stops.
One thing that does leave you a lot to question, Rhode Island really struggled from the free throw line, 23 of 34. Fordham wins by 17, so not necessarily the game changer there, but 34 free throws, letting them get to the line a lot was definitely an issue in this game, but Fordham was able to get to the line on their own and hit their shots, 23 of 28, 82% from the field. But against a better team like George Washington, you're not going to be able to let them get to the line 34 times, and you let them beat themselves in this case, but you have to do a better job of not fouling. But you also mentioned the bigs. Fordham wins the rebounding battle in this one, 42-38. We have seen a lot this season Fordham get dominated on the boards, and for them to come out in this game and be able to put up a fight and win that rebounding battle, a lot of times you win that rebounding battle, you're going to win the game, and I think that was a big key in this one.
Definitely rebounding, out-rebounding a strong team under the board like URI was definitely important to see as they face number 7 GW. GW has the number 1 defense in the A10. We've talked about this time and time again. But also I think an important note to say is that Fordham held David Green to only 2 attempts from beyond the arc, which is shocking. It's an anomaly, as Chaz said on the broadcast. But David Green only 1 of 2 from beyond the arc, and for a team that is number 4 3-point percentage in the A10, that was great to see them closing out on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty much opposite game against GW. You're against one of the top offenses in the A10, now going against the number 1 defense, and that has gotten to Fordham a lot this year. We know they can score, but their problem has been defense. And when you're going against a top defensive team like GW, you're gonna have to lock in on defense, or you're just gonna have to have another great shooting night. Also, you look at how basketball is. You're on a back-to-back tomorrow, which could hurt them. So you got to get home, rest up. But overall, I mean, this game, if you look at how expectations were coming into the A10 tournament, this game was amazing for them. And I do think the momentum they're going to build off this, the team we're going to see tomorrow is not going to be the team that showed up last week for GW.
Definitely. I think the momentum, as you talked about, is definitely important heading into this game against GW. A thing to watch is how they open up the second half. In the first half, they had 4 total turnovers. In the first 6 minutes of the second half, they had 3 turnovers. So They definitely, against a GW team that leads the A10 in steals, needs to take care of the ball, definitely in transition there. With guys like Rafael Castro of GW, just an offensive powerhouse he is. And they've also had the advantage of having rest so far. So I think Fordham definitely did need this game, definitely needed a win, definitely needed a warm-up, to get through the A10 tournament. Let's see what they can do tomorrow at 5 p.m. in the nation's capital.
Especially a dominant win like this one. They led the game for 38 minutes compared to Rhode Island led for 16 seconds early in this one. Just a dominant win on all aspects of the game for Fordham. Looking at the minutes, though, Jaffe Modor, 39. Jackie Johnson, the third, 38 minutes. Big minutes for those guys, but they showed up in this one and were so important to this win. Hopefully they can come out tomorrow and come up with another big upset, and why not make a run? Before we wrap this one up, any final thoughts about this game or before we get for tomorrow's game?
I definitely want to just shout out Ergo here. I mean, what a great management of the offense and defense today. He's been asking for stops all year. He finally gets them. This is the basketball they've needed since October. And 88 points is the highest ever in program history in the A10 tournament for the Fordham Rams. I mean, just nothing to complain about today. Only can have smiles on your faces going into tomorrow for the game against GW. I would just advise the Fordham Rams, take care of the ball, opening up both halves, play your pace of game. It boded well for the Fordham Rams today, and a GW team that it's just the defense is great. So,
and that is going to be all from today's broadcast. What a win and what an upset for the Fordham Rams. Final score 88-71. They keep their season alive, and tomorrow we'll face off against George Washington at 5 p.m. Before we go, big shout out to our producer Kurt Sipple, our video producer Lydia Perner. Bobby Chaffardini is the sports director of WFUV. And big thanks to our guys on the broadcast, Lou Orlando, Nick Guzman, and Chaz McAdams. For Nathan Rogers, I'm Owen Kelty. Fordham Men's Basketball is a production of WFUV Sports.